is you want to do in my life so far. And I just want us to just even raise our hands as a sign of surrender. And we're saying, Lord, you can have your way. We say yes to you. Whatever it is you want to do in Manchester, whatever it is you want to do in my heart, whatever it is you want to do in my life, whatever it is you want to do in my family, I won't be the hindrance. So I say, come, Holy Spirit, come and have your way. No restriction, Father, you are welcome. We say yes, Lord, yes. Our songs are rising in your direction. We say yes, Lord, yes. We will wait on you. We will wait on you. Come and move. We say yes to you. Come and move. We say yes to you. Oh, come and move. We say yes to you. Come and Can we raise that sound in this place? Come and move. I am surrendered, Lord. Come and move. We say yes to you. Come and move. We say yes to you. We'll see you high and lifted up, shining. As we say, we'll see King Jesus reign over Manchester. As we say, we'll see you high, Jesus. You are shining.
The information provided by the speakers and/or presenter on Facebook and YouTube is for general informational purposes only. All information is provided in good faith. However, Constructive Talk makes no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of this information.
It have some spirits roaming we land, seeking to destroy your faith, confuse and intimidate, to take with them as many as they can, down to the pits of hell for eternity to dwell. If we don't take stock and amend our ways, we'll continue on the path to darker days. So let's begin to shift our moral compass now and say to iniquity, we shall no longer bow. So grab your rosary and your holy water, let we pray for the nation. And with the water of Zamzam and Quran, now with strong vibrations, all them single mothers, oh God, we sons and daughters. And yes, as we gather, I beg you protect them, Father. Cause while some hoodwinking, somebody bad drinking, and we just keep sinking deeper into this array. Heed our nation's cries, it's time to mobilize. Together we'll exorcise all these bad spirits and cast them away one by one. I say two by two, 3 by 3. We'll cast them away one by one. I say bring them 2 by 2. I say 3 by 3. We'll cast them away. Boy, yeah. Not too long ago we shared one vision. I for you and you for me, brotherhood, camaraderie, embracing each other's traditions, carnival and Diwali, jamming soca and chutney. Then a divisive spirit was thrown in the mix, contaminating we workplace and we politics, pitting one against the other, perverting life, standing on the precipice of civil strife. So grab your calabash, your konanga water, let we pray for the nation. And with Tulsi and Ganga Jal in hand, man, is strong vibrations. All the hate and anger, look like it in a heart like banga. But together we labor, because you are my neighbor. Cause when we made the trip, slavery and indentureship, exploitation and the whip. But what a price we paid. Though we have different names, our passion is the same. So unity we must reclaim. And all these bad spirits, we'll cast them away one by one. I say bring them. I say bring them. We'll cast them away one by one. I say two by two. Ding, 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 ding. And when we walk through the valley, treacherous roads and alleys, in the darkest hour, we shall not cower. Cause deep inside we got the power. Don't show us the power. God gave us the power. The power, 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 power. Spirit of deception, spirit of fear. Tell them get the hens, we don't want them here. All for money they crave and lust. Well, tell them tonight they go bite the dust. I say greed and envy, yes, the enemy. Spirit of illusion, spirit of confusion, wickedness and war, them who rotten to the core. Termites of the state, while hunger still dominates. Day, 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 day. This behavior is not by chance, because when you sell your soul, you are never in control. In this deadly romance, damnation is the reward when money is your god. They flood in the streets with guns and drugs, turning we youths into murderers and thugs. Sleeping with the adversary only brings unrest. That's where imps and wicked spirits manifest. So grab your candle, bring your holy Bible, and we pray for the nation. And with your crucifix and your bell in hand, man, is strong vibrations. All them evil breeders, bosses and leaders, tell the gangs we see them, and we come in to free them. Upholders of the law, businessmen and the poor, fighting this spiritual war. But help is on the way, and we have faith like sand in this holy caravan. So righteous battalion, and all these bad spirits, yes, we'll cast them away one by one. I say cast them two by two. I say cast them, hey, 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 hey. We'll cast them out one by one, two by two, three by three. We'll cast them away.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago, and by extension, the world. Thank you very, very much for choosing Constructive Talk to be with me here this evening. It's a good Monday. Today is Monday, the 2nd of February. All right, and this evening, I want to say so much is happening in Trinidad and Tobago, and we want to get down into some serious discussions this evening about what's going on in our nation, and if what is going on in our nation is right. Several things happened over the weekend. We saw where there was some young ladies kept a protest in solidarity for a friend. All right, and we saw where the young lady was cooling. You could see that she was cooling a police officer, a senior officer at that, concerning them being out there them being out there and you know what I mean, and looking for that sort of, you know, how to put it, boy. But the reality of it is that they were out there, the young people were out there, and they were standing in solidarity for one of their friends. All right? They were standing in solidarity for a friend. And, you know, when you listen to one of the young ladies, she said that she went to school with her at Bishop's, and she felt as though she had to step in and stand up for her friend. And all of that is well and good. Let me tell you something. When people can stand up for you, that says a lot about your character and about you as an individual. So, they would have stood up for their friend, and their friend, if you don't know who I'm talking about, is the young lady who got shot with her common law husband or boyfriend, her children's father. And you know, strange enough, the young lady, the gentleman who they're talking about, the young man who they're talking about, he, I know him, you know. I know him very, very well. All right, so this evening I have a guest with me, and he is going to be on the phone line, and it is former Commissioner, Mr. Gary Griffith. He is joining me on the phone this evening to discuss this matter. And I just want to let you all know that we are internationally listened to, and I want to send out my appreciation a whole lot to my good friend and adopted brother. He is the program director for a station called Premier, and they are live with us on Constructive Talk this evening. So we're not just broadcasting from Trinidad and Tobago, we are now broadcasting in the UK and all of Europe, Birmingham, all over. And this evening, they would have asked me to get the former commissioner to share his views and ideas about what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago. And I know, well, you know, people think that this gentleman and I, we ain't good now, you know, but I just want to let you know that I think I and this gentleman have history. And who I'm talking about, former Commissioner, Mr. Gary Griffith. Good day, sir. Good evening.
Good day, my brother. How are you, comrade?
Okay, just now, Mr. Griffith, I know what's going on here. 1 minute, I was hearing it. Good. Hello?
Hear me now? Yeah.
All right, so just now, Mr. Griffith, let's see what's going on here. All right, just hold 1 second. Let's see what's happening here.
Some spirits roaming we land, seeking to destroy your faith, confuse and intimidate, to take with them as many as they can, down to the pits of hell for eternity to dwell. If we don't take stock and amend our ways, we'll continue on the path to darker days. So let's begin to shift our moral compass now and say to iniquity, we shall no longer bow. So grab your rosary and your holy water, let we pray for the nation. And with the water of Zamzam and Quran, now with strong vibrations, all them single mothers, oh God, we sons and daughters.
All right, so I'm back with you. Let's see if we have Mr. Griffith on the line. Good evening, sir. Hello? What's happening? Did know the last time this was happening when we had, you know, we had on when this was happening? Commander Dindial. Let's see if Commander, if this is if what he was saying is the truth. Now, hello? 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 Mr. Griffith, hold on, eh? Don't come off the line at all. I feel is a I don't want to believe that that's what's happening. Every time we have somebody like Mr. Griffith on the line, something like this happens. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Right. Yeah, it was that. It was that. They really, the last time, Mr. Griffith, I just want to tell you in advance. The last time I had somebody like you on, we had persons actually interfering with the frequency.
Wow.
Yeah. The last time I had Commander Dindial on, who is the political leader of NTA, and he would have given us some valid information. We actually, and Commander Dindial could tell you, if I had him on the line, he would have tell you what was happening to his phone line too.
Wow, that is very interesting.
Yeah.
And unfortunate.
Yeah. And I actually got a call one time. I would have done an interview with him, and I got a call to take down the video.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I got a call, take down the video. When I took down the video, somebody from YouTube, somebody would have screen record or recorded the program, and that person would have put it back up. And when they called me and told me, I thought we told you to take down the video, I said to them, from the cyber community, I said, I took it down. And then they asked me to bring in the laptop. When I brought it in, they realized that it wasn't my IPL who put it up. It was somebody else.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's very curious that somebody could warn you. The only time that they could tell you to take down a video is if it is something that is in breach of our cybercrime laws.
And what it
and
was
if it's not, I can't see the reason.
What it was saying, we were talking directly about the at that time we were talking about the radar. And he was giving his history. He was giving his history about being trained to operate radars in Trinidad and Tobago. And he was talking about the one on San Fernando Hill and some other stuff that he was giving. And I think they were saying that was too it was too much what they call it, boy? Information.
Sensitive information.
Yes, sensitive information.
But they can't give you even if that was true, there's nothing that they can do to give you an order to take it down. That is what the media is about. The media could extract information to show how we intercept phones in the SSA. If the media finds that out, hopefully they don't, and the media brings it forward, we can't contact the media and give them an order not to publish it. Whoever told you that, they should have told them where to get off, because they, in local parlance, they're very fast and out of place. You can't give, unless it is something that is a breach of the law or sedition. There's nothing that they could do to give you an order to do that. And whoever is that person, you can tell them that I said so. They're totally out of place. It is not, unless you have broken a law, right? So like under the Sedition Act or something like that. There's nothing that, it happens worldwide, where the media will have access to information of national security. And sometimes you will think that you will ask persons you could kindly ask and explain to them that this can affect national security. And the onus is now on the media person to decide whether to do or not. But they can't give you an order. They're totally out of place. There's nothing, there's no law that was broken. You should have asked them, show me the law that gives you the authority to give me a directive to do that. They would have said, okay, sorry, it's a wrong number, and they'll put on the phone. Whoever told you that.
All right. Well, you heard him. He's on, Mr. Gary Griffith, former Commissioner of Police. Mr. Gary Griffith is on Constructive Talk this evening with me. And what we are highlighting with the time that I have with him, and with the time that I have hooked up to the radio station in the UK, we are talking about the situation with Mr. Samaru, and apart from that, we looked at a small protest that took place over the weekend, and it's only today I get to realize, and I know the young man, It's only today
Really?
I get to realize that I know the young man. I know his mom passed away now. She was the first female bishop in the Caribbean. She was the first.
Okay.
She was the first woman to be ordained a bishop in the Caribbean. And strange enough, people thought there were some people who thought that was your family, but it's not. And I think when I was somewhere, I had to tell them it's not Pastor Samaru. It's Pastor Jita. What's her name again? Pastor Margaret Lee.
Oh, yeah, Margaret Lee. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's my aunt. Yes.
Right. So I was saying to them that is your aunt, Pastor Margaret Lee,
Yes.
and not Katian
Yes.
Samaru. Because there are some people who believe that Reverend Katian Samaru, Bishop Katian Samaru was your family. And I had to say to them, no. Pastor Katian Samaru is not Mr. Griffith's family. His family is Pastor Margaret Lee, the lady who pastors Jita.
Correct.
See,
Yes.
see how I know
Jesus is the answer.
you see how I know your business?
Yeah,
You see
yeah,
how I know your business? I'm all up in your business.
Yep.
All up in your business,
But
Mr.
who-
Go ahead.
You know, yeah, but all my family on my mom's side is in that religion. However, I have remained as a Catholic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But Mr. Griffith, so that's how I knew the young man. Right? That's how I knew the young man. And it's really sad because what's happening is now, there's so much that I want to say this straight up to you, Mr. Griffith. That you see those two young ladies, they remind me of the young ladies who started the movement in America when they killed George Floyd.
Yes.
You remember that there were two young ladies who started a movement,
Yes.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. Yes.
It's two young ladies who started that movement,
Yes.
And I looked at them on TV, and when they were schooling the police officer, and he looked like a senior man in khaki when he asked them to disperse, and they said to him, no, we got acknowledgement, and we are not marching. We are at one place, and we are sharing how we feel about what took place. And they quoted the act for the gentleman.
Yeah. Well, I think okay. So going to that, if we could get into it.
Yeah.
So if you're a citizen, this is the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. You're a citizen and you want to have a one man or one woman protest. You don't need permission from the police. A few months or years ago, some police officers foolishly arrested a man, and he actually won his case with that because the officers did not realize that you can have a one-man protest and the police cannot stop that individual unless he's in the middle of the road obstructing traffic or breaking a law. If it is that you decide to have a march against crime or whatever, and you have given all that is required is you write to the police to inform them so that the police can provide security. You don't need police permission per se. However, if it is that you have an assembly in one specific area, police permission is required. So if you have an assembly and you say all these people must congregate in a specific area, we're going to have a protest, you need approval from the Commissioner of Police. Granted, it shows to this country how backward we are. I've been about several media stations over the last 24 hours on this. I think it is very backward that in this modern time, that we're in the second quarter of the 21st century, people need to ask permission from the Commissioner of Police to have their right to protest. It is totally outdated, but we have, Pastor, we have laws still known as the Loitering Act. If two young men are on a block, the police can arrest you. We have obscene language. We have disorderly behavior. If you argue with a police officer, you could be arrested. We have a law called lewd dancing. So if it is but Carnival Monday and Tuesday, almost every single female should be arrested if that is the case. So we have many outdated laws based on the colonial days that to control the masses, and we have not. And sometimes it is exploited by police officers. Who, if it is that you're arguing with a police officer, he will charge you for disorderly conduct, for obscene language, and these type of laws is really outdated. And this is one of the situations where if you want to have a protest, you must get approval from the commissioner. That is the present law in Trinidad and Tobago. So what they did, they decided to enforce the letter of the law rather than the spirit of the law. Had there been the spirit of the law, for God's sake, this is the meeting was mostly women, children, elderly persons. They were unarmed. It is a Sunday. They're outside Parliament. There is no Parliament. No one is around. They're just trying to voice their hurt and their concern and about police abuse of authority. And you instead decide to double down on it by threatening to arrest them and bringing a riot squad to intimidate them. So all that Guerrero and others have done is further intensify the situation to cause people to say, you see, exactly what we told you. Sometimes a commissioner of police needs to understand they might be doing that to set me up, to bait me. I had the same situation in Black Lives Matter that you spoke about, where hundreds of persons decided to protest out opposite the U.S. Embassy. They did not get my permission. I didn't go in there with the charge of the Light Brigade and send tactical units to disperse them. And no, I went there personally. I started meeting with them. I explained to them, by the way, we have never had one report of police abuse of authority during COVID. So what you all are protesting is based on what is happening in the USA. I did not put any riot squad to give a form of intimidation. They spent their time and they left, because sometimes they deliberately go there and hope that some foolish police officer would arrest them, would lock them up, and now they get their point across even more. That is, I think, is what happened yesterday, which was unfortunate. The police officers took the beat. All you had to do was to go there. You could have ignored them because they were not harm to anyone. They were not. The only law they were breaking is that they did not get permission from the commissioner, even though they wrote to the commissioner, and the commissioner did not have the basic courtesy to respond or to say that yes, I am approving it or no. So they still went ahead, and the commissioner worked on the colonial law. They then brought the riot squad. It caused a sense of intimidation. You don't bring a riot squad. I brought the riot squad when 100 young men were walking down Federal Street with bottles and Molotov cocktails to destroy Port of Spain during that same Black Lives Matter protest. And I dropped some tear gas on them and caused them to divert back to Duke Street because they were planning to destroy Port of Spain. That is when, so you don't bring out, when you bring that riot squad, the IATF, the Jeep, the Guard and Emergency Branch, you don't bring them to flex your muscle. When you bring them out, it is for them to act. And there was no reason for the riot squad to be out there in full force, in visual presence. All that was a form of intimidation, and it was, in my view, it was unacceptable.
Okay, so tell me, Mr. Griffith, we're seeing what's happening, we're hearing what's happening. All right. Again, these young ladies, out of love for a friend who they would have went to school with, are saying that there are questions to be answered and they want a proper investigation and not somebody who would cover up what happened. Now, the young lady drew my attention to some things that personally I think the commissioner firstly, when I heard the commissioner spoke about this incident, and he said that based on video footage that he looked at, he doesn't believe that the officers should be suspended or go to desk duties. And somehow or the other, that did not rest properly with the population of Trinidad and Tobago. People were like, okay, you don't feel that they should be suspended, you don't think that they should get desk duties, and you also believe that they deserve counseling. And people were not happy with that statement, right? He even goes as far as to say that the information that he had concerning the whole issue, he cannot put it in the public domain because it would jeopardize the investigation. But Mr. Griffith, when they went after the gentleman and was it Malabar or somewhere, where they would no, we ain't reaching Mova. We're talking about where they would have scammed somebody. Some guys use Facebook to scam somebody a vehicle.
Oh, yes. And
the police would have shot at them and killed them or whatever. He gave a ball by ball commentary on what happened.
Yes. Yep. Correct.
So that's why people are questioning the commissioner because he isn't coming across consistent. The level of consistency is not there.
Yet the Prime Minister has commended him and stated that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. She has said that yesterday. And I would really love the Prime Minister to really tell the country what new unit, policy, system, equipment, technology this commissioner has done. In the last year, he has there's not been one new thing, one new unit, policy, equipment, system, anything. And that's why the government was forced to call the SOE because in the failure of a minister or commissioner coming up with new strategies, tactical systems to reduce crime, you're forced to turn to SOE. Now, having said that, let me just clarify certain things. Firstly, when it is that he stated that the country is not aware of what may have taken place before. This commissioner of police, let me clarify, he has very little knowledge in international best practice. It seems that he has obvious very little knowledge in minimum use of force. He has very little knowledge in understanding the importance of public trust and confidence. Had he done so, he would not have made that foolish statement. Because let me clarify, had these two individuals in the car used a bazooka, thrown hand grenades at the police, shot at police officers, hit a police officer, and after the end of the car chase, they put their hands to surrender, there is nothing to justify shooting at anyone whilst they are not a threat to the police officer at that specific time. So the line by that commissioner, it is probably the dumbest comment I have ever heard by any police officer. Well, you all don't know what happened before, so basically he's trying to justify what we are seeing at the time with persons surrendering by saying, well, you all don't know what happened previously. Yeah. It shows his total lack of understanding, investigative process, and understanding minimum use of force policy. Somebody could shoot and hit police officers, and then a day later, they are cornered and their hands in the air. The police cannot shoot at them and kill them because of what happened the day before, or hours before, or even minutes before. That shows his lack of understanding minimum use of force, armed conflict, counter-revolutionary warfare, minimum international best practice. So that comment alone by him trying to cop it out by saying, well, you all don't know what happened before, to justify what you're saying now, is foolish. The second one has to do with the minister himself. If you listen to that comment, the same way that was the dumbest comment I ever heard from a commissioner, the dumbest comment, the most ridiculous comment I've ever heard by any minister in our history is stating he wants to have a law to ban persons from using video footage on their own personal CCTVs and sell it on social media. That is, Roger Alexander, this is not Eastern Europe in the 50s, right? That comment was ridiculous. And it is in stark contrast to a comment made by a judge today, Justice C. Prasad, where he has recommended to the public, use your cameras and your phones as much as possible if you feel there's abuse by the police. So the judge is stating best practice now, where persons are doing that all over the world. And we have a minister who was a police officer having the audacity to tell the country, I want to have a law to arrest you and lock you up if you have your own camera of an incident and you decide to show it to the public that can cause exposure of police wrongdoing. Because there's the same minister who foolishly said, well, even if the police officers had the body cameras, it could not be seen to the public. We saw an incident recently with a top US athlete and the body camera was shown and the whole world saw it. So his stupid comment that if the police had body cameras and say one of the cameras showed the female holding a gun and firing it at the police officers, that I, as the commissioner, will show that to the country. That is not affecting the investigation. Okay. Making it known to the public is not affecting the investigation. Beautiful. But there was nothing other than that video footage with a man's hands in the air, 3 officers coming out, riddle the car, they then stopped firing and then continued firing after, which shows total contrast to minimum use of force policy, because once the threat is neutralized, which is why, remember the difference with myself, if you shoot at my police officers, if you try to kill my police officers, I don't want no riddling. I want one shot, one kill, because that is what police officers are supposed to be trained for. They train at the aiming at a head and a chest. So you neutralize the person to prevent them from firing back at you. But if it is that there is no threat, and you shoot at anyone. So in the same way I defended my police officers as commissioner, it was the highest number of persons suspended and charged by police officers under my watch as commissioner of police, because I will accept no abuse of authority, which is why I made it mandatory to have the body cameras used. The 3 commissioners after me have refused to make it mandatory because they fear change, they fear accountability. I explained, I did the tender, I did the selection, I did the research, I did the due diligence, I acquired the funds, I did the buy-in to the police officers, explaining to them the importance of you getting these body cameras. It's not to target you, but it's to clear you of any wrongdoing when wrongfully accused. And that is where they started using it. It was mandatory. You signed for it. Now we have a deputy commissioner of police, if you don't know, up until yesterday, had the audacity to say, well, the 1,200 that Gary Griffith got, 1,000 is for recruits. There are 100 recruits at a time. So what stupidness you're speaking about? And these are not a rocket ship you're trying to fly. This here is a body camera. Anybody could purchase that in UK, in North America. You switch it on and you switch it off. You need 1,000 of these cameras to be put in the training academy. You only have 100 recruits at a time. It takes 4 hours to train the recruits. 1,200 body cameras is more than enough for every police officer who is on operation, patrol, roadblock, or warrant. You sign for it, you return it, and we test this, verify if it is used. Because not the 7,000 police officers, at least 4,000, they work in administration, in finance, in logistics, in welfare, in human resource, victim and witness support, cybercrime, in investigations. They are not involved in frontline policing where they interact with the public. So you need the body cameras in case of a shooting. Those body cameras should be given to the interagency task force, to the task force in the divisions, to the guard and emergency branch, to the so those are how it would be given out. And there are enough. So they continue to find excuses not to use it because they are afraid of accountability.
How do we hold a commissioner accountable, Mr. Griffith? Now that we have reached to this place where we're seeing, and let me tell you straight up, Mr. Griffith, I have a problem with this commissioner, and we would have had a conversation prior about this. One, the first problem I had with him was he would have called an SOE. He came before the public and said the country is now under an SOE. That's the first problem I had with him. The second problem I had with him was when he was sitting on an interview and agree with stand your ground laws. And the reason why he agreed with stand your ground laws is because he believes that citizens should be given the right to protect themselves. Well, his portfolio is to protect and serve. Now, my thing is, even if you believe and you accept that stand your ground laws may assist you, right? I personally don't think, I could be wrong, that a commissioner should be so involved in the politics to say that he agrees with the government on stand your ground laws.
Well, this commissioner of police, every single comment made by the government, the commissioner approves and agrees. So he becomes the virtual communication specialist or the PRO for this government. Every single time the government says something, he agrees with. He gets involved in. There's not one time he has ever and will ever be able to say, well, I have a difference in opinion. So we know the kind of commissioner he is. Mine is something totally different.
You know what is the other one that totally clear away his wicket, take his wicket, was the radar.
Yes, that was the
you
one
see
I was
that one?
Remember as well.
That one,
you're
take
there,
his wicket.
You're rushing there to decide to say the radar was instrumental in finding the drugs, but then foolish enough to say, but we didn't put police officers there because afraid that mosquito bite them. Every single comment he makes, it is in support of something the government has done. So it is the country is starting to get the perception he's a PRO, he's a spokesperson for the government. And now in stark contrast to myself, you recall I had clashes with the Prime Minister because, there's about 20 police chiefs in the United States. that attacked the most powerful man on the planet, because a police chief understands that I don't work for a politician, I work for the people. And if you as a politician will say or do the wrong thing, it is my right to stand firm. When I had the problem with Keith Rowley foolishly did not understand his own law when he thought that I had a right to arrest people in their homes. And because he didn't understand public health regulations during COVID, I did not have that authority. Had I wilted under pressure, I would have been arresting persons in their home. You invite your 10 friends home and family for Mother's Day, I arrest you. And there would have been hundreds of millions in damages for wrongful arrest. That is the type of commissioner you need, not someone that every single time the government says something, you're going to rush in there and agree, because it gives the perception that you need to keep your job so badly, or you got the job because of it. And that is not the kind of perception the country wants to get. They want to know a commissioner must be independent, impartial, and he reports to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and not to a politician. So his comments have been, to every single time the government makes any comment on any law, any policy, he agrees, which again is why the Prime Minister probably says he's a very good commissioner, because she is measuring him. Because, like myself, I would have implemented in my first 6 months as Commissioner of Police the Community Comfort Patrol, the Rapid Response Unit, Emergency Response Patrol, body cameras, tasers, pepper spray, gender-based violence unit, social media monitoring unit, online reporting, police app, operational command center, commissioner's command center, GPS tracking on vehicles. Every week I was putting a new policy, a new program, a new system, new piece of equipment, new piece of technology. In the last year, Guevara was there nearly a year. Not one thing he has established, but yet he's commended by the Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister is pleased. But if you ask the Prime Minister, what has he done? And it cannot be reducing crime, because this was the same Prime Minister who said, well, we can't praise Gary for reducing crime because there was COVID. But I didn't have the capability to arrest persons and keep them in indefinitely. We were able to, whereas in New York, Boston, Detroit, LA, Chicago, Jamaica, Guyana, crime actually went up during that period during COVID. So again, it shows sometimes politicians will say one thing to benefit them and then after shift the goalpost. In a nutshell, though, this situation with this commissioner of police, his actions to try to justify and say, well, I see no reason for these persons to be suspended. He was totally out of line with international best practice. And again, if it is that he has never gone out of Trinidad, he has never gone to Europe, to North America to understand international best practice, because he spent most of his time dealing with intelligence gathering in the special branch. All you have to do is watch television, for God's sake. As soon as someone shoots someone, regardless of whether you're right or wrong, you're immediately put to death duty. It is further compounded when it is he actually acknowledges the fact that he thinks that they need counseling. To give counseling to somebody identifies that there may be some type of psychological or emotional trauma on that person. So you are saying that these officers may have some degree of emotional trauma, mental instability based on the shooting, but are still going to give them a gun to go out there that can kill 35 persons in 3 seconds. You have a double standard. For you to give counseling, then you're acknowledging the fact something may be wrong, which is why the SOP for officers in situations like this is to have them just go to do not interface with the public in the eventuality there may be some degree of emotional trauma that could affect the public, or maybe, just maybe, the officers could be culpable. And this being done is not admission of guilt, but it is to calm the police. But he refused, and he decided to wilt under pressure eventually. And it got even worse when the Police Welfare Association foolishly condoned and agreed with the decision made by the commissioner that we could have a video footage of 3 police officers riddling a vehicle with someone's hand in the air, no threat we are seeing, and we are saying that no action should be taken on these officers.
But Mr. Griffith, some people are asking if you could tell us what is the international standard, because let me tell you why. A former commissioner is agreeing with this commissioner, which is Stephen Williams.
Yeah. Well, remember, Stephen Williams lived his whole life in an admin office with a cane. They were never operational. They were never tactical. They were never strategic. I have never even seen Stephen Williams hold a firearm. I never saw him in an operation leading from the front as I would have done time and time again, week after week. You'd have seen how I operated when the shooting of a gang member alleged gang member in Silos. I was the one to take the front. So he doesn't understand. If Stephen Williams said that, it says so much about his lack of training and understanding international best practice. International best practice throughout Europe, throughout North America, is if at any time there's a police-involved shooting, whether the officer did the right thing and saved lives and protected persons and saved his own life, the weapon is immediately taken from him and he is put on administrative duty for 3 months until the matter is thoroughly investigated and until we can be sure that there is no mental trauma that will affect the officer in his decision-making process. Because remember, this could also affect a police officer when he could be in the right and then you put him back onto duty, but now he's second guessing whether he should fire, and that could cost him his life because of what happened previously. So for Stephen Williams, Guevara, or any commissioner, past or present, to say something so foolish, not to understand international best practice, it shows the serious problems we have in the selection of commissioners of police in Trinidad and Tobago. And I'll tell you why quickly. Because initially, international experts would have been measuring the assessment of persons who apply to be commissioners. That's why I got 85% to the other 50 senior police officers when I first applied. That's why when I got 93%, the second person was 72%, because international experts, they were doing it. They changed it. The PNM decided to change it to let the Police Service Commission be involved in the selection process. So you have a Police Service Commission like the one right now. Not one of them has any training, knowledge, experience in law enforcement, in armed conflict, in policing. And they are the ones selecting a commissioner of police. That is how we got Erla Christopher. Erla Christopher couldn't come in the top 20 when international experts did the selection process. But then she became number 1. And I'm telling you the dangers of this. A prime minister handpicks a president who handpicks a police service commission. So jump by jump rule. When we say the police service commission is independent, it is not. The same way it is that we are accusing the independent senators of being politicized. The same way the Police Service Commission, because you have to be the dumbest police service commissioner in the world to select somebody as number 1 when she couldn't come in the top 20. That is the same thing that's happened here with Guevara. Not knocking Guevara, but he was middle management. Being middle management is like somebody who was a clerk and he's trying to be a clerk from grade 2 to grade 1. And in the meantime, we will make him the CEO of the company. And how could that happen? So, he does not have the experience, the training from a very senior level to understand so many things. And we are paying the price for this right now.
So where did he fall though in the list? Because there are some people who don't believe that he fell high up in the list. Eh?
Well, I would really love to start with, if he was a superintendent and he applied to be a senior soup, did he come number 1? Because it is mind-boggling that if when it is you apply to be a senior soup from being a superintendent and you didn't come first, but you applied to be a commissioner and you came first, that doesn't make sense. So that's the first thing that should be seen. And again, I always had the concern that to apply to be commissioner of police, you need 12 years of senior experience. 12 years senior experience means that you need to be an army lieutenant and above in the military, or being in the executive of the police service, because only the executive is a senior management level. Being a superintendent or a senior super is not senior management level. So being a first division officer is not senior management level. Being in command of 10 persons can't give you senior management. So I was always wondering even whether he was eligible to have even applied. But again, a decision was made. And what we have seen and heard from his comments is every single time he speaks, it is to support and agree, whether it is the radar, whether it is the SOE, whether it is ZOSO, every single comment made by the government, he has to agree to. That has caused many persons, even persons that support the government, to really wonder. I have never been a yes person. I have stood firm against 2 governments because I don't need a work. I don't need a job. I wasn't begging for a job. My focus was on my country, my God, and the citizens based on my oath in office. And all commissioners should do that. So, but going back to this point, if he does not have the experience in law enforcement to the point of understanding international best practice, how could you, for God's sake, say, I see nothing wrong with what these men did and I'm taking no action? And then you have the Welfare Association saying the same thing, which shows the two of them as clueless as they come in policing. And then you have the Police Service Commission. Any police service commission that was trained in law enforcement, armed conflict, and so forth, and international best practice, would have immediately hauled in the commissioner of police and asked him to explain himself. Probably, if not send him on administrative leave, send him on some degree of training to understand minimum use of force and international best practice. But the Police Service Commission has not done a thing. The commissioner made a very foolish statement. Thankfully, he has pulled back on it, and he has now stated that they will not interface with the public, which is what he should have done initially. But for the Minister of National Security to have condoned what he said, for the Police Welfare Association to condone what he said, it shows the dangers of persons who hold high office not understanding the basics of minimum use of force and international best practice.
Wow. So my thing now is, I've reached the point where I'm wondering how do we go about lobbying governments, this one, any other government coming into office? How can we lobby them, Mr. Griffith, in best practice for even disciplining a commissioner? Because and then too, it makes you wonder, because if he is politically appointed, then we just spinning top in mud, because there are some people who just want a commissioner there who they can manipulate and control.
Yeah. But it's not going to change. And I'll show you a simple example. When I got my 83% and I came first, the then Police Service Commission was appointed by the UNC. And the UNC then became the opposition. The UNC refused to vote for me. They abstained. That Police Service Commission, when they realized I came first, automatically they put me to fourth on the merit list. And that is with Miss Susan Gomes, Martin George, Commodore Franklin. And when you ask them, how you put Gary fourth? There was nothing. But remember, they were appointed and selected by a UNC opposition who didn't want me there as commissioner in the first place. So even though I came first, I got the most amount of points. They decided to say, well, even though the qualified experts put you first, we're going to put you fourth on the merit list. That says a lot. Because, as I said, they were appointed by a political party that didn't want me there.
So let me ask you this: when the PNM came into office, did they move those people?
They removed them, and then Bliss Prasad got in. And this was the same Bliss Prasad that I have in court now, where she foolishly decided to take a merit list and withdraw it because the Prime Minister told her, I have a report that's really bad and you should move it. And she withdrew the merit list without the approval of the Police Service Commission.
But before, that's not. So when the UNC, right, who had put in the commission, right?
Yes.
When the PNM came in, did they remove them immediately, or they were the ones who chose you?
They can't be removed. They can't be removed. So the Prime Minister, even though the UNC appointed Police Service Commission placed me fourth, even though I got the highest number of points.
Right.
The PNM bypassed first, second, and third and sent me. Now, The point I'm saying is that I don't think the PNM brought me there because they figured I was the best. The PNM probably brought me there because Gary had a fallout with the UNC. He will go for them. So it shows that politician after politician, government after government would select commissioners of police who might do their bidding, which is a dangerous precedent. And that is my concern. So I cannot see a prime minister ready to say, let us go back to international experts selecting the commissioner. No, they're going to stick to this process of the president who has been handpicked by the politicians, who is now going to handpick the Police Service Commission, and the chairman is somebody who is going to be that's virtually a political appointee as well.
But then when they come around campaigning, remember politics, you have to win the people, eh? And if I as a politician come around campaigning and I draw the examples to you, just as we drawing it here now, hear what? This is what happens in the choosing of a commissioner. And when you choose a commissioner, look at this present commissioner and see how he's operating. And clearly you could see that it's because of a political appointment is why he's behaving this way. For us to get away from this, we have to go back to international standards or bring in international people to choose our commissioners. And and that is the only way we can build back the confidence of the nation in the police service and commissioners. You have to campaign properly on it. Then we just show our hands up in the air and say, well, you know what, this is how we're going to be forever and ever and ever, amen. We have to start a lobby and hold our politicians and people in high office, Mr. Griffith, accountable. Let's be real.
I agree with you 100%. But
because if you see people are calling for this commissioner to resign, they are calling him to resign. And there are some people who say, no, he shouldn't resign. He should stay where he is. But there are some people, because they say that if you move him, who says that the next commissioner isn't going to be the same way? What that will say to the other commissioner is the people of Trinidad and Tobago lobbied for the last one to go. And if you feel that you're coming in and do the same thing he do, we will lobby the same way for you to go.
But yep, I agree. But this government, notice the Prime Minister, not by accident, she decided when she saw the pressure he was under with the country by and large stating that he should leave. She jumps in there and says he did a fantastic job. I will ask the Prime Minister, please tell us name one thing he has done correctly. One thing, stating about the radar was able to find drugs, stating about I support the SOE, and again, foolishly stating to the public, I wrote to the Prime Minister to recommend we have a state of emergency. Suppose the Prime Minister said no, but you're rushing there so excited to show support for the government, you're making known to the public before the proclamation was even made. That alone showed some degree of very questionable, very strange actions. And that is where it is. This commissioner needs to calm down. Stop being so excited to sing. But again, the PNM, they don't want the international best practice. That's how Dwayne Gibbs was selected, through the international experts, through Penn State. That's how I was initially selected. But the PNM, they don't want that. They want the police. I will handpick my president, who will handpick the police service commissioner, and we will get the commissioner we want, who might not be the best, but the person who will say yes when we call. The UNC will probably want to do the same thing. So both major political parties would never want to have the best commissioner. What they want to have is the yes commissioner.
But what about while I hear you with that, and I may tend to disagree, because the PNM has a new leader now. And which is Ms. Beckles. And Ms. Beckles, people can lobby Ms. Beckles now for best practice and hear what is her view on it.
Good point.
Because nobody knows what is Ms. Beckles' view on choosing a commissioner.
Yeah.
And if you bring the evidence to her, let's say she has a consultation on crime and stuff like that, and you bring the evidence to her and say to her, Ms. Beckles, this is what X, Y, and Z. You wait now to hear what is her view, and then now you could say, well, yeah, well, now all of them is the same.
Yeah, good point. And again, no, and you'll think that if you're a mature political leader, if you do something like that, you know what you have just done? You will win over the 100,000 floating voters. Those are not PNM or UNC till they die. Mm-hmm. And that is what you need to do to win an election. Because they say, we cannot have a police. You have this police service commission. None of them have held a weapon. None of them understand international best practice. None of them know use of force. So when the commissioner foolishly says, I see nothing wrong with what they did, and the Welfare Association agrees, and previous commissioners agreed, these civilian police service commission will say, well, all right, well, I guess he's correct. Because none of them are trained or qualified. And that is where it is. Had there been an international team, Guevara then you will have a totally different system in the selection process. That's how Dwayne Gibbs was selected. That's why I was selected, because there was nobody that they saw at that time in the police service that was good enough compared to persons like Dwayne Gibbs or myself. But again, the Earl of Christopher is the most perfect example. This lady couldn't come in the top 20. And we now know why, based on her performance, because she was probably seen as the worst commissioner ever. And Guevara is giving her competition now. But you couldn't come in the top 20. And then all of a sudden, Judith Jones and some others decide to put her as number one. Impossible. What Ola Christopher just drank some smart juice? No, because we saw her performance. Her biggest crime plan was to pray. Because she did not know, she didn't have the capability. Guevara's plan right now, he was middle management. How could you be middle management? That's like somebody being a sergeant you make him the chief of defense staff and the brigadier general overnight. It doesn't happen that way. So for you to give somebody middle management and make him commissioner, before he was in charge of 10 men, now he's in charge of 7,000. Before he had a budget of $1,000, now he has $3 billion. He was never involved in major joint operations with the defense force, with customs, with immigration, with SSA. And now you give him this type of authority. This is where he will make mistakes. And it is no fault of his. He didn't put himself there. It's the Police Service Commission did. A Police Service Commission that has no knowledge or training in policing, but they are selecting the Commissioner of Police. That, again, only a banana republic this could happen.
I want to take some calls, Mr. Griffith. I want to take some calls. You want to engage the listeners and get them on the program for them to ask or any questions and stuff like that. So we're taking your calls on 464-7003, 464-7003. That is the number to call in live on the program, 464-7003. All right, we are discussing what's going on in the public domain, the commissioner, the statements he made. I want to play for you, Mr. Griffith, your good friend, the Minister of Homeland Security. I want you to hear what he had to say about a situation, about videotaping. This is, and let me tell you this, what is concerning about this statement by him is that you have the right-hand man to the Prime Minister making similar statements. That is concerning. So take a listen to your partner here. What is his name?
Roger that.
The death of anybody, any person, citizens or not, in Trinidad and Tobago is concerning. However, I don't think I might be the rightest man to ask this question, because you see, when persons who never police this place and understand what police has to go through daily, they might have a different view. But for someone who has been confronted with gunfire on numerous occasions, it is difficult for me to think otherwise. But on a whole, you know what is important here? Evidence. And the police could have brought it out early, but we respect the rule of law. The police respects that. The police also respect that, listen, there's an investigation taking place, so we must be cautious as to how we put things out in the public domain. And looking at it from this angle, something needs to be done with those who do that in terms of the law. You cannot put things out there, get the public opinion on only what they saw for 2 minutes or a minute and a half, and then draw a conclusion to it. The time has come for that to change. And the persons who continue to do that, there must be law to treat with that.
So that sums up probably the most stupid comment ever made by any politician in the history of Trinidad and Tobago.
Wow.
This man is so lost. He is trying to say that if someone has a camera on their home and they have a video of something on a camera, which camera is facts. You're not padding. If it is a padded or something that's different, but something that is factual and being sent to the public, you want to lock them up because of that. This is not a police state, Roger Alexander. I noticed his comment, he keeps saying, we. This man has totally forgotten he's no longer a police officer. So he doesn't understand his main focus is to look after the safety and security of citizens of this country and not the police service. Because every time he keeps speaking, he keeps saying we. And therein lies the problem. You have a man who was middle management, who has never been involved in national security from a holistic level, being in command of national security. You have a man who was in charge of he spent the last 10 years on a talk show with somebody, and now he's in command of 20,000 people in uniform with a $6 billion budget. That is wickedness to somebody. You've given him this authority, and instead of him trying to listen to people, because I tried my best to work with him and try to help him from these, instead I get blocked. Because the most dangerous thing is to give an ignorant person authority at times, where it is you don't want to listen to anyone, you don't want to take advice, you feel you know everything. And that's the difference with myself, regardless of how much I felt. I had 482 Gary, let every citizen tell me what you think. Let me know your views. Let me know, because you don't know everything. He and Guevara, they don't want to speak to people. They don't want to listen. They don't want to take advice. And your middle management, that comment by him alone, it is madness at the highest level. In this era of technology, the more cameras you have, the more body cameras, the more people use their phones, it is what is going to bring out the facts. So for him to foolishly state that the police could have the information, but they can't show it as yet, that is not true. There was a movie that was made recently to show the problem with with Stand Your Ground, where a lady shot a black person. And the whole movie was the police body cameras. So to say that you cannot use police body cameras to show to the public something that can possibly deflate a situation that is escalating, and he says, well, you can't use it because it will be evidence. He's totally incorrect. And therein lies the problem. He lacks the foresight to understand 21st century policing, predictive policing, intelligence-driven policing, and he's still old school. The old school is what will prevent police officers from wanting to use body cameras, because you feel that the body camera will make me culpable. No, the body camera could clear you of wrongdoing when wrongfully accused. So his concept is similar to Guevara. That's why, as I said, 1,200 cameras are there, and they've refused to utilize the cameras. Why were those cameras not used by those police officers in that shooting? There was a mandatory process. I had a standard operational procedure, a departmental order. Officers who failed to use it will be suspended. These senior officers have refused to enforce that. And now we have a minister trying to say, I want to lock up people if they decide to show video footage of things on their own CCTVs. That, I think, has to be the dumbest comment ever made by any minister in the history of Trinidad and Tobago.
Let's take some calls. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Gary Griffith, you never fail to give me a reason to vex with you. You just take the wind out of my sail when you mentioned what Alexander talking, when he speaks, especially in that last speech, when he keeps referring to himself as the police and then he's saying we. Gary Griffith, Alexander clearly doesn't recognize that he is not a police anymore, and he is not the minister of the police service. Clearly, he is conflicted with what the position that he is in, and he's there, it seems like, to defend the honor of the police service. He is very confused about the two portfolios. I want to agree with you, Gary, on 99.9% of everything that you said. And we stand on different sides of the aisle a lot of times. But there was nothing that you said tonight that I disagree with, especially when you mentioned the international practice of putting an officer either on desk duty or on suspension. Earl Christopher was fired, basically, and saying that they was doing an investigation and they didn't want to compromise the investigation. So it was good for Earl Christopher, a whole commissioner of police. But 3 junior police officers, you can't put them on desk duty. You understand the disparity? You understand the hypocrisy?
Correct.
Another hypocritical point is Roger Alexander made himself famous and built a whole profile on people's CT cameras. He had a running TV program on air strictly on people's CT cameras. And it is very hypocritical now, 8 years later, that you could come and not want to tell people your CT cameras that you buy a DVR or an NVR for should not be disseminated to the general public. It's the highest form of hypocrisy I've ever heard or seen from a minister.
All right.
You understand?
All right, caller. Thank you very much. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, good evening. Good evening, Gary. Good evening, Pastor Google.
All right, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I have a serious problem with the Minister of National Security stating that, they want to pass some law concerning the release of footage. Now, where photography is concerned, right? If you are in the public, that is international law of photography. If you are in the public and you are recorded, you are fair game. You are in the public. No, nobody cannot push a camera through your window in your house and record in your house and then put out that. That's madness, right? Now, that form part of freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and kind of thing. And the way he songs as if it's some kind of Gestapo kind of thing or some kind of Hitler kind of thing. I Trinidad not about that. You understand? And then they say they want to charge families or people who are involved in crime. Where are they going with that kind of... I don't understand where they are going with that. That makes absolutely no sense. And then the commissioner of police keep making unforced errors. Nobody enforcing him, For example, the people went out there to do the little protest on Sunday. And then you bring stormtroopers there and line them up to come and beat the people. What is that? The people already hurt, and all you have to do is come with 2 officers there and talk to them and tell them, well, okay, this goes and wherever time and all this goes or whatever. Why the commissioner of police allow some senior officer, or however it has happened in the police service, to send a riot police there? That looked extremely bad. And from the looks of it, this whole entire situation, it would seem as though the police is trying to cover up something. And it's like the police and them trying their utmost best to cover up something. And if that footage was not available, what would have happened? The same Minister of National Security was on a talk show host for how much years and asking people, if you see something, say something.
Correct. Yes.
The biggest of the hypocrisy. And they are making the government look even... So, if I was the Prime Minister, I fire people a long time, right? They're making the government look more bad than they're done looking bad already.
All right, caller.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Remember, if you have a question for Mr. Griffith, also, we ask you to ask the question. All right. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
On all these subjects you raised so far and thing, I have to say that, the most pressing issue is reform of all our service commissions. Now, remember, that was one of the things that the former regime was looking to seriously look into, right? But the fact of the matter is we had to say that the political arrangements of our parliament will determine how successful or unsuccessful a government would be. Now, in the 2 incarnations of this administration, before 2010 to 2015, and now they have a majority where they could do certain things, right? They could pass certain laws unimpeded. The last administration had to water down several pieces of legislation. And I look at, like, for example, Friday, what would have been debated was amendments to the bail bill. And former commissioner would admit that when he was there was an attempt to keep people in prison who were held with high-powered weapons for 120 days. Right?
Correct.
This current administration in opposition refused to support those amendments. Again, when it came to the anti-gang legislation and renewing the sunset clause, 2219 again, they tried to be concession to go forward with that anti-gang legislation for what it was supposed to do, and they refused to support the administration in that, right? Of course, the Terrorism Act was amended and so on. But I am saying, and I know the former commissioner would agree, there are several pieces of legislation where penalties were increased and so on. And if they would allow the police to do their work and utilize these pieces of legislation, it would go a long way in helping the crime situation as hamstrung as the last administration was, right? That is one part of it. So we had to be honest in that regard. The second thing is I heard the former commissioner say that the present service commission does not have anybody with policing experience. And that is not quite true because the chairman, Dr. Wendell Wallace, was a police officer. In fact, he retired as a corporal because of the very vindictiveness of the police service, where he was in the special branch and he was unceremoniously transferred from the special branch back into uniform and sent to the Besson Street police station, right? And he was one of the most highly qualified officers at that point in time, right? And out of frustration, he just devoted himself to academia and end up where he is now. Now, I would admit that he didn't reach a management capacity like the former commissioner is talking about, where he will have operational control and so on and being able to attend high-level meetings, right, in national security and things. So he had that disadvantage. So it's not quite correct to say that there is no one there with policing experience. And you know what is my thing about, I would agree with him in terms of the composition of the service commissions. You see, we had to evolve our service commissions to the stage where you have hearings like what you have in the United States and the UK and Canada to appoint people to certain positions. And there, they could be scrutinized by the parliament and seen by the public, and we could determine whether or not these people are fit for the office that they go into. And I think once you have that, you will have a better cadre of people. On the other hand, some people may say that you will not get the best people to come forward because they will be afraid to be put on the spot. But we need to do that. You just can't have people sitting down in the ivory tower or because they're good with somebody, they get appointed to a position. And at the end of the day, what we want to do is improve the safety and security of the country. And as long as we keep having this partner thing and somebody in my corner, we will never get the thing correct or get anything done. Thanks for the opportunity, John.
Well said. Well said.
Let's take another call. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Is Gary still there?
Yes, he is. Mr. Griffith is still here.
Yes, I am.
Gary, I want to engage with you in tactics for a minute. You like to have the conversation of international practice. From your observation, if you are being fired upon, have you ever seen international practice that after being fired upon, the vehicle becomes immobilized, and the police that was in the chase jump out of their vehicle and with no hesitation decides to run up on the vehicle that they were allegedly being fired from?
None whatsoever. The immediate view that you will see is that you went excessive use of force, and that becomes now a possible criminal investigation on the part of the police officers now being suspects. Straightforward.
What I have seen in international practice, that is because I follow international news a lot, and especially police instances internationally. What I always see is if and when the vehicle becomes immobilized, the police vehicles that were giving chase takes a defensive position. The police exits their vehicle, use their vehicle as cover, and the next protocol after that is to start to give verbal instructions to the occupants of the vehicle of what to do. Never have I seen.
Which, by the way, correct. Sorry, go ahead.
Never have I seen police exit their vehicle and run up on a vehicle that was quote unquote allegedly shooting at them.
Which also shows the lack of training by these officers, which should justify their immediate removal from frontline.
Lack of training is exactly the words I was hoping to hear from you. Lack of training. Correct. Trigger happy, and one of the words that I was expecting to hear from was trigger happy.
Yep.
Because the culture that we have come from is you don't ever fire a weapon unless your life is at risk.
Correct.
And
or someone
I saw nobody's life at risk.
Correct. Yet,
and here is where it gets more dangerous. I spoke to a police officer, and he is trying to tell me, what if the video was doctored? And what if the man had a gun in his hand? And is the woman who was actually shooting at the police? And one set of narrative being spun to defend police. And that is why I have a particular peeve with police, because they are liars and they will do anything to defend one another in the illegal actions. And I hate that with a passion.
Well, I wouldn't say all. I wouldn't say all.
I'm not saying all.
Pastor, if I could intervene here.
Just so, let me hear Gary now.
Yeah, if I could intervene here, I hear you, but remember, this 6,000, 4 years ago, public trust in the police service was 59%. These are the same 6,500 police officers. So it's not the police officers who have changed. These were the same officers that the country generally trusted. The public trust and confidence in the police service 4 years ago was higher than probably any arm in the public service. Now it is the lowest. But these are the same officers. So let's not blame the officers. We have to blame management. If you don't put systems to measure performance and make officers accountable, they may shift. They may go the wrong way. Remember, police officers come from society, but they're expected to be at a higher standard. And if you don't put systems to measure their performance, a perfect example, I had the exact situation in Mova, Pastor, if you remember. The police officers came out, treated a car like a strainer. They riddled it. Immediately, I sent all 18 on suspension. I didn't stick. And the country realized, okay, no, at least something.
Is that the goal, Tida?
Pardon?
Yes, it's the goal, it's the goal, Tida. And now they are before the courts.
And now, so it showed that I did the right thing. You think I could have been a commissioner? Imagine that happened. And I, as the commissioner, said, I see nothing wrong with what happened there. Only don't know what happened initially. I have to be a madman. I have to be an incompetent commissioner to see in that Gold Teeter situation. The officers came out. They riddled the car. Apart from the fact that it was total lack of training. Your last caller, I don't know, like he watched the days of Hill Street Blues and Chicago PD and Miami SVU. When you stop, you do not know if the person, suppose somebody had an assault weapon in that car, those 3 officers would be dead. It was poor training, being trigger happy, you're rushing there, and so that alone shows by that lack of training, they should not even be there. So with all of that, however, as I said, 18 officers are immediately suspended. After getting careful video footage, we realized 10 of them were not involved in the actual shooting. So I think I sent those 10 on desk duty. The other 8 remain on suspension, and bam, now they're charged for murder. That is Commissioner of Policing. The other caller, Pastor, just to clarify, even though if the chairman of the Police Service Commission had policing experience, then by now he should have immediately hauled in this commissioner and send this man to classes to understand minimum use of force policy, international best practice, and the importance of public confidence and trust. But you see, he is a corporal. He may not have that international best practice experience. He may not have that minimum use of force training experience. Similar, Fitzgerald Hines was a corporal, I think, or a constable. So was Marvin Gonzalez. So to say that you have experience in policing, there's a difference in policing at a very higher level. I was able to move in there as a commissioner because I was an army captain. So being an army captain and then also being a minister of national security and a commissioner and a national security advisor, I had the wealth of experience, training, and knowledge. I went to NYPD several times. I went to the UK. I met with the cabinet operation briefing room. You need to have a commissioner with that type of exposure. So, and same thing with the Police Service Commission. Even if it is that none of them, they should have appointed some senior previous police commissioner or officer to be able to train to them and explain to them what this commissioner is saying here is madness. You're seeing 3 police officers rush out there, the charge of the light brigade, riddle a car, and then he's saying, I see no issue with them remaining and everything goes as norm. And then you have the Welfare Association president who has recently been appointed. Pitt should resign immediately for that foolish statement to say, I agree with the Commissioner of Police. So it is sheer madness, but the Police Service Commission has stayed silent. So evidence that you all see, well, he has policing experience, it shows that he has not utilized it properly, because this commissioner should have been roped in immediately for his reckless action by stating initially, I see nothing wrong with what has happened, and life goes on.
Let's take this call. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Pastor Google. Good evening to Mr. Griffith.
Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening.
Today we saw Judge Superstad give a rule in his court.
Yeah, we would have spoken about that also earlier this evening.
So I want to know, based on the statement Mr. Alexander made, our Minister of Homeland Security,
yes,
that they will carry laws to the Parliament to be enhanced that we should follow. Who should we follow? Follow the judge?
What the minister said, to be honest, all he said was that he think that there should be laws in place to refrain persons from putting in the public domain videos of that nature, right? Just Prasad is saying in all now where there is no law where that is concerned, Just Prasad is saying tape. So right now there's no law in place. Right now there's no law in place, and Judge Prasad is saying here what? And precedent, you see, the judge smart, you know. He know once he set that precedent and a situation like that comes before another judge, they could say, hey, the precedent has already been set, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, because video footage is admissible in court.
Yes.
Whether it be cameras or CCTV. Correct?
Yes.
So you are telling me, Pastor Google, that would not, if that law bill, the pass that law.
No, the law isn't passed. No, we're talking about no.
If
the law passed, then there have to be, then it has a process to go through. But the judge is saying presently, don't look in the future about where if the law passed. The judge is telling you presently now. Do it now.
All right.
Okay, but let me clarify. Sorry, what's that?
Yeah, one more thing before I go. I am supporting that this commissioner needs to resign. And I said it early on. We always talk about best practice and first world countries, we militant first world countries. But in first world countries, if they make a mistake, not even like what these people are doing here now, but even if they make a slight mistake, they're handing a resignation. These people say the radar catch a drug boat full of drugs with no engine in Carney, and the owner of the radar, the people who created it, that is not true.
Well, that's something, but that's something as a nation we have to, and I hear you, but that's something as a nation we have to start, as I told Mr. Griffith earlier on, we need to hold our leaders, instead of just saying these things, we need to hold people across the board, PNM, UNC, NTA, everybody accountable, and we need to tell them when we get rid of somebody, listen to this, when we get rid of somebody because of something, it means that the other person who is coming in need to be held at a higher standard and need to be known that, hey, what's going on? We get rid of that person because of that, you know. That doesn't mean that you could come now and feel that you could pull wool over our eye.
Exactly. Yep. One more statement.
Real people calling it all, man. Real people.
The Prime Minister, anyhow, let me change the topic. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hello, good evening, caller.
Yes, good evening to you, Pastor Google.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask Gary Griffith a question.
You'll ask Mr. Griffith a question. Go ahead.
Gary Griffith, as a commissioner of police, you know what I like about you? You're always on the front line with your officers. You're not saying no office and taking no death route. If you have to die in your line of duty, you die with your officers going down, with your boots on. And that's what I like about you. And you mentioned something about lie detector test if you want to be in a unit. And many of them don't want to take the lie detector test. I mean to say they are shady in character. And anytime they see people like that, you have to remove them. You have them in no order, no practical unit, because you cannot trust them. You know? And that's what I like about you. You stand firm as a trained person. You know, you didn't come in just so. You study the policies of policing, but police, and you see the body camera. The body camera is something that we want for all officers.
All right.
Everybody.
Thank you very much.
Everybody.
Thank
you know? Not just one thing you want to wear because it's too heavy. You can't run with it. Like stupidness. I see them look at with a big armor because you can't run with it. And now people thinking,
Thank you very much.
And keep up the good work.
Thank you very much. All right, so I'm seeing we're getting a lot of foreign callers want to come in, and I'm seeing them calling Mr. Griffith. I don't know if you could just allow some of the persons who are listening out of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm seeing a lot of them trying to get in, but because we have the lines are flooded in with local callers, we're not getting the foreigners to get in. All right, so I'm going to take this local call and then I'm going to leave the line open for foreign callers, please. All right, let's take this call. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Pastor Google and Mr. Gary Griffith. I want to start my comments this evening by saying that I am a young supporter of the PNM. I want to declare my interest. I want to also say that I am of the opinion of what Mr. Griffith said regarding the Police Service Commission is 100% true. I am a supporter of the PNM, and I am saying that one of the biggest mistakes that the last administration made was politicizing the selection of a police commissioner. Mr. Griffith was extremely effective during his course of service, right? And not just the reforms that he would have put into the service, but the relationship he had with the public. And because of a few people's egos, the country had to suffer. During the last general election, the UNC was able to beat the PNM very bad on the issue of crime. And I am saying, had the Biden leader not went the way in which he did, maybe we wouldn't be so badly off today. And I am saying that as a supporter of the PNM. Mr. Griffith, I don't have any faith in this present administration. I don't have faith that Mr. Varro is going to be removed. But I pray that eventually we'll be able to have you back in a position by which we could use all your vast expertise and training to try and arrest the situation with crime in this country. Because I recognize that you didn't just have a fight with the politicians, but you also had a fight from within the suit. So you resisted on both fronts. But we the people need you, sir. Yeah. And I want to say thank you for your service.
Thanks. Pastor, if I could just butt in here, and again, this is interesting with fairness. Yeah, you
go ahead.
So, what I'm saying, Pastor, is that what happened is that because of my approach, I was able to pinpoint 100 million TT in overtime corruption. I was able to pinpoint police officers using vehicles to escort drug dealers, police officers controlling drug blocks. When I started putting an end to these things, started demanding polygraph testing, making it mandatory for body cameras, I stepped on big toes in the police service. And what they did, they realized that when they heard that the Prime Minister was amending the law for me to remain for another 3 years, they went mad. So they came up with this plot, orchestrated documents and with lies, just pieces of paper, sent it to the Prime Minister. And Keith Rowley, sadly but foolishly, took the bait. And he took the bait, and that's why you notice all this talk about firearms. 5 years later, not one person has been charged with any of the reports in that Stanley John report or the Barrington report. So he got set up because the rogue elements in the police service wanted me out because I was affecting big business, from $100 million a year in overtime corruption, police vehicles being used to escort criminals, being used to escort illegal weapons and human trafficking, in police officers involved in controlling drug blocks, me demanding that they be polygraphed, me demanding body cameras. They needed me out, and they realized they couldn't do me what they did to Christopher. You can't come in my office and try to arrest me. I would have put you in your place. So what they did is they got the politicians to try to believe that Gary Griffith was doing something, and Rowley took the bait because being a senior person, he's a no-nonsense man. So he said, look, you see this? Right, we had to move him. And he jumped there without any evidence, any witnesses, any documents, any data. he took the bait, and there were one or two politicians in the PNM that didn't want me there also because of their concern of my popularity. And PNM probably they paid the price. Well, I didn't care about the PNM. My concern is the country. We cannot afford to have put rogue elements in the police service, easily manipulate politicians, and then and now all of the nonsense that has taken place in the past, they've shut down the 999, the body cameras, the tasers, the pepper spray, the online reporting, polygraph testing, drug testing. All of these things have been removed because I've been out of the system.
All right, let's take this call. We have a foreign caller on. Hello, good evening. Where are you calling us from?
Brooklyn, New York City, to be exact.
Brooklyn, New York City, Mr. Griffith.
Yeah. Hi, good night, everyone. Mr. Griffith, my attention.
What do you like?
I have to chime in here because we have to remember we has as much Trinidad living outside of Trinidad as in Trinidad. Let's don't fool ourselves. There's a lot of us out here, and we are paying close attention to what is going on in Trinidad. And for what we are seeing out here, those police officers should be suspended until the investigation is completed. There's no two ways about it. Mr. Homeland Security Minister and the Commissioner of Police, I don't know where they're living. We are living in a world where nothing is hidden anymore. Let us take New York City for an example. If that had happened here, those guys will be on desk duty. I don't know if buts or maybe about it. Let's be real with ourselves. Trinidad is too much of a small place for all this to keep happening. And correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it a couple years ago, CCTV cameras was exempted for taxes, which means people got to bring in CCTV cameras for the same purpose, for crime and all that stuff? I'm asking a question though. Wasn't the taxes exempted for bringing in CCTV cameras into Trinidad? Is it? Yes or no?
Yes, correct.
Okay, correct. Right. Yes. So then, for Mr. Alexander, this guy, I'm sorry, when you have to ask yourself, you had people like this was in the police service, and now he's a minister. What do you think is going to happen? I don't want to knock the guy, but the gentleman's songs, I don't want to say what I want to say. His songs uninformed. For a police officer, and he's actually threatening the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. What kind of madness is this? What kind of madness is this? You're supposed to glad to know people have cameras all over the place to help you. This will help the police, This is not for the city. This is for the police too. And I'm calling to Mr. Frank C. Posad. People have a right to record anything. Look, let us take New York for an example. Everything that happens is on cell phones. And what happens?
Correct.
They use the same cell phone footage to correct the wrong. So where is Mr. Alexander going with this nonsense? You give people power and it get to the head. This is what Mr. Alexander is doing now. Give him a little power and it get to his head. He still think he's beyond the tape, Sorry to say it, but Mr. Alexander, you are not on beyond the tape anymore. This is real. This is people's lives here. You are just one person. You cannot be, you're talking about laws and laws and laws. I don't know. I think this government, I'm sad to say, is not politics, but this government have to go and come again with most of those ministers on that cabinet because they're just making everybody look bad. We out here are looking and we are asking ourselves what kind of nonsense going on in Trinidad. Stupidness.
All right.
And people want to condone this.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Can't condone this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Pastor, if I can, just to put the minds of persons at ease, there is not a snowball chance in hell that foolish recommendation made by Minister Roger Alexander would ever even be drafted. When I was Commissioner of Police, I wanted to have, a law to ensure that to deal with white collar crime, that you call it civil asset forfeiture. And you feel I could have gone out in public and say, I want to recommend this be a law that if you can't account for where you get your assets, we could seize it. I have to be mad. Kamala Persad would have pulled me in and say, you're fast and out of place. You don't recommend laws that you think. It shows the immaturity of Roger Alexander. Even if you feel that you want to have a law, anytime you make a comment, that becomes a possible government policy. So by you making that comment, you have virtually stated to the country, this is the government's plan. And it shows his ignorance in understanding proper protocol. If I want, as a Minister of National Security, and I want to have a law, you think I could go and say, well, I think there should be a law? Immediately, Kamala Prasad Bisesa that it not too clout. And it shows his ignorance in understanding him being a team player. You cannot in any way make a recommendation of what you think a law should be without speaking to your Prime Minister, Cabinet, and the National Security Council. And knowing Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who is very experienced, you want to lose a general election, you can't bring a law like that. It will never happen. That was Roger Alexander thinking very foolishly, and obviously the lights were on, but no one was in.
Wow, we have well, this is our last call on this topic. Hello, good evening.
Hey, good night, Pastor. Good night to the former Commissioner, Mr. Gary Griffith. Mr. Griffith, as a young caller, I have a question to ask you. Right? Now I'm growing up, right? So I observed that throughout my life, I watched the police force, and I must admit, the governments, past, present, right, would have spent enormous money, right, in fueling the police service, right? So I recall as growing up, you have the blimp, right? You have the disruptors, you had the drone units, recently the drone units, all these things were enforced, right? But it's something that you're touching. And I and all talk about it, look at it in my mind or replay it when I watch how these scenarios are taking place. I think, and I'm asking you, do you really feel, as you say, as an international expert, and you're very qualified, right? Do you think there should be a serious overhaul of the police service in Trinidad and Tobago? Because if you put all the amount of technology, even when you went in there, sir, right? Because you said it in a statement ago, when you went in there, you had to deal with some certain scrupulous police officers. You had to deal with. Now, I'm going to go through your history. But if you come in, that means you were under pressure from the get-go. You were under pressure. You weren't sent in there to deal, to clean up. But if you had a proper police service, you would have been able to execute your job. From the Police Service Commission comes straight down, Mr. Griffith. So I'm asking you, right, because even if there's another person to replace this current police commissioner, they're going to face the same human resource problem. So I'm asking you, is it possible that we should be thinking about revamping the whole police service? That is my question for you, sir. Yeah, sure. Have a very good night.
Yeah. And the answer is no, because it was done. The police service was transformed. When I took over, 14% was public trust and confidence under Stephen Williams. 14%. In 3 years, it moved from 14% to 59%. And all it took, you just need to have a commissioner. You don't need to revamp the police service. It's leadership. So right now, when it is 8%, as I said, these are the same police officers. But if you have a commissioner who says, look, I'm not sticking. Everybody on these elite units, you must be polygraphed. I made mandatory polygraph testing on the Southwestern Peninsula. And here what I ask these officers, do you financially benefit from illegal drugs, illegal weapons, and human trafficking from Venezuela to Trinidad? I had a station with 13 officers, 11 of them refused to be polygraphed. Immediately, I transferred them to another part of the country. Now, you couldn't take disciplinary action, but you could take administrative action because you realize something wrong. Why would you not want to be polygraphed for that? When I made it mandatory for body cameras, you sign for it, you return it, and I had people check in. You didn't check it, I will suspend you. You're involved in a shooting, and it looks like that you were culpable, I suspend you immediately. That is the type of commissioner that is required. You're not there to make friends. You're not there to protect the police service. You need a commissioner who understands my first role and function, my primary function, is the safety and security and the well-being of citizens of the country. What we're getting now is commissioners and ministers who feel that their role and function is to safeguard the police officers. And you have to know how to draw that line. So in the same line, when officers are wrongfully accused, I will be the first one to defend my officers. I'll be there to fight and provide them with the resources, the tools, the training, the technology. But if it is you do something wrong, I have the record of the most amount of police officers suspended and charged because you don't cover wrongdoing. And so you don't need to revamp the police service. You just need to have a proper system to select the best person to be commissioner of police.
All right. So your closing comments, Mr. Griffith.
I am hoping that good sense will prevail. These individuals, as I said, both of them were senior soup. They were middle management.
Right.
They need to step back and start understanding. You need to start listening to people, start looking at international best practice, stop being blindly supported by a welfare association that obviously does not understand anything pertaining to international best practice or modern day policing. And we need to have a police service commission that can step up. A caller who said that Mr. Wallace was a corporal. Where's your corporal training to have understood that what the statements made by this commission have been totally incorrect? Even the action to bring in the riot squad to intimidate persons who are there unarmed and doing nothing other than voicing their concern of possible police brutality. And you bring a riot squad to instill and intimidate persons, which means that you have intensified the concern that the same persons had. That is bad policing, and the Police Service Commission is sitting on it, not doing anything. It is hoped that good sense would prevail. It is hoped, again, I have made it mandatory that it must be mandatory that body cameras must be worn. To have the police mislead the country to say, well, 1,000 must be in the recruit training academy. As I said, it's 100 recruits at any one time. It takes 4 hours to learn how to use the body cameras. So you have 1,000, you have 1,100 body cameras, and you don't have 1,100 officers on duty at any given time. So those officers should have used it. It is hoped that we also have a simulation theater, which all police officers in the front line should be able to be. They must be able to go at that simulation theater, understand different scenarios to know how to use minimum use of force. It would have minimized the problems that we see that continue to take place. Customer service training is something I brought in from NYPD. Training police officers, how to speak, how to talk, how to react with the public. All of that has stopped. If these things are done, we can see a revamp of the police service to move back up from the lowest we have seen in years of less than 10% of public trust and confidence in the police service. It doesn't help the police. It doesn't help the citizens of this country.
Wow. Thank you very much, Mr. Griffith. We keep in contact with you as this continues to unfold.
Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. All right, Trinidad and Tobago and by extension the world, we just had Mr. Gary Griffith on with us. I hope that you all got the information. I hope that you all enjoyed it. We're going for a break and we're going to come back. And the break that we're going to take is a calypso that plenty people believe should have been into the finals. I don't know how they think this would have made the finals, but a lot of you thought that this calypso should have made it into the finals, but she did not make it into the finals. So we wait to see what's happening. So take a listen to this.
So as we get ready for our next performer, one of the songs that's afraid to be wrong. The name of the song is Big Sail. The name of the singer, Queen Victoria.
Africans, for sale, for sale, for sale. Africans, for sale, for sale, for sale.
All you good, yes? I was lying with some old men before the election, and well, I was amazed of their discussion. They were discussing the election of 2025. how Africans were selling cheap and UNC buying dead or alive. One old man shout out, fellas, give me your attention. UNC can't win by themselves, no election. You see, they're sitting and they're planning to make a decision. So she called out Shilaga, who the old FIFA wanted man. She said, call the trade union, let we start negotiations. And we could call out a big sale and we go buy out some Africans. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. Sing the thing. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. She don't have all she chance and she the honor rhymes. Now what she need is some slave names, man, some big strong Africans. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying good or bad. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. Tobago and Trinidad. Oh, somebody pinch me. Hey, UNC sitting and they're waiting patiently. With about 16 safe seats, they don't win that already. The woman said, I have my people and they are born UNCs. Now all I need is some Africans who got their names out of slavery. She said that she here, they're really selling cheap. And she could buy them very cheap, 500 and a jersey. A lot of people will cry when she's finished with CPEP. Because she is not holding back them P&M have nothing to get. She said this party be for country, oh you never forget. She will care for her people and she have no blasting regrets. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. She buying Africans for sale, for sale. Listen, we buying Africans. She said we like crab in a barrel. We pulling each other down. But I want their votes, so I jam them the winning song. That's all they know it. Africans when UNC wins, everybody wins. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. Tobago and Trinidad. Hey, who called me? I want this verse slow, right? The black mines in Tobago, she's working on them with ease. But she's not afraid because monkeys say cool breeze. She said the last time she was easy, this time there is no room for mistakes. Cause when she's done with Tobago, it's either they make or break. She has her eyes on Maruga, especially Samuel Cooper. They got a lot of P&M houses, but none of them can remember. She's buying some in 6 company because they're nice, they're bad and they're trim. Their ancestors came from Africa and all of them is Americans. She passed through 5 company and she bounced up Madingo. Well, boy, she makes she name cause she gets Africans for Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. Kill them. Africans for sale, for sale. Listen this. We buying Africans. Doc Fizerbad was pretty serious with her reading the cemetery. He said I'm waiting for refinery point. That man had to be crazy. What? Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying good or bad. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. Tobago and Trinidad. I never meet too commercial man so. She said my people are loyal. They don't vote for other parties. But them P&M people just show them some money, stack and roti. She said I have my safe seats in the safe hands of Caroni. She go on to St. Couva, straight down to see Paris. She said I love my people. For 10 years we out in the rain. But when I get back in there, things will never be the same. To all of my people, you must get your rightful place. And I don't care who's sitting there and think I am talking race. You all know what's hurting me. You see that, Dr. Rowley? We don't hide up all we money. The damn man change the currency. Hey! Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africa. Kill them. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africa. They bought out PSA. They got them for 10%. Now they could beat the chest and laugh, cause they know it's money well spent. All your love, all your Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying good or bad. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. Tobago and Trinidad. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans.
Queen Victoria.
Let me say here tonight to public servants, wherever you may be, if your president succeeds in removing the PNM from office, many thousands of you will follow that by removing yourself out of your jobs. And let me tell you why. The government of Trinidad and Tobago led most of the years by caring PNM governments, have taken on the responsibility of ensuring a quality of life for people in this country that is now at the level of almost impossible to fund beyond where we are. In a $60 billion budget, the largest expenditure in that budget is on the monthly payment to public servants wherever they might be. Every month, on average, not just public servants on the Gazette, you know, the government supports the payroll of some state enterprises. If WASA doesn't get a $200 billion from the Minister of Finance virtually every month, WASA workers cannot be paid consistently in the way that they have been, you know. But as Prime Minister, I could tell you, the hardest job of the government and of the Prime Minister is to ensure that there are revenues coming in on one side to ensure that expenditure can be supported on the other side. And nobody could give you any other equation. The singular equation that you should be concerned about in this country now is what is our revenue situation and what is our expenditure situation. If you listen to the PSA leader and the UNC and their campaign in 2025, all they are concerned about is improving and expanding the expenditure side of the equation. And to do that, to make it, honey, quoted for you, they tell you things like they will increase public servants' pay by 10%. Ladies and gentlemen, from this platform tonight, I could tell you, once a government comes in and gets on that pathway of making that kind of increase to public servants, the highway has to be labeled two names. One, you are going to end up at the IMF, the International Monetary Fund station, and you're going to get there by the road called devaluation. And let me tell all of you something tonight. If God forbid, and there's a government in office that finds itself without revenues to meet the monthly expenditure to public servants, the one thing that government will not do is to write checks to you and then the checks bounce in the bank. Governments don't operate so. Before you get to that point where the checks will bounce in the bank, you cut the liability of requiring to write the checks. You know what that means? When the government finds itself in a position not being able to pay the payroll, ask Barbados what happened. It's tens of thousands of public servants that come off the payroll. Governments don't have you on the payroll working and can't pay you. They take you off the payroll. In this country, anybody who is telling you that they will incur expenditure that we all know the revenues cannot support, they are telling you in code that they intend to cut the public service. And let me tell you what my source of information tells me when I try to understand what the UNC is about. You know what the UNC is saying quietly and secretly? If they ever get to that situation where they come into office and they can't pay the bills that they're committed to and they cut the public service, is mainly PNM supporters that will be affected, because the bulk of the public service is East-West Corridor people supporting the PNM.
So here this now, I want to talk about something that jumped out at me in the news this evening. Something jumped out at me in the news this evening and caught my full attention. And I want to draw it to your attention this evening, because I'll tell you this, a lot of you may look at it and say, hey, look what's going on there. Look this, look that, and be totally ignorant of what is really going on in this country. Or, to put it nicely, you know, I personally think, just as Mr. Embert says, the PNM doesn't blow its trumpet at all. You know what I mean? The trumpet of the PNM is very soft. Very, very soft. What I'm talking about, I want to play for you what I'm talking about. And when I play this for you, then I'm going to play for you some other things, and I'm going to take your calls. Take a look at this. Take a listen to this, right?
This country could be mere months away from being one non-stop flight away from the African continent.
In an update to reporters, Minister of Trade, Industry and Tourism Satyakama Maharaj explained that the intention is to create a transatlantic hub connecting Africa to the Caribbean, with Trinidad and Tobago as the epicenter, cutting the journey time from 2 days to mere hours.
That's going to open new markets, both for trade, investment, but also more importantly for tourism. We are looking at early April.
As government seeks to diversify the economy, Maharaj has been pushing for increased trade with the African continent as a possible solution. He was speaking at yesterday's inaugural Win Air launch at the Piarco International Airport.
This country could be mere months away from being one non-stop flight away from the African continent.
In an update to reporters, Minister of Trade, Industry and Tourism Satyakama Maharaj explained that the intention is to create a transatlantic hub connecting Africa to the Caribbean, with Trinidad and Tobago as the epicenter, cutting the journey time from 2 days to mere hours.
That's going to open new markets, both for trade, investment, but also more importantly for tourism. We are looking at early April.
As government seeks to diversify the economy, Maharaj has been pushing for increased trade with the African continent as a possible solution. He was speaking at yesterday's inaugural Win Air launch at the Piarco International Airport.
So, I want to ask you all something. I want to ask my listeners on this something, and those of you who locked on to Constructive Talk. Is this the first time you all hearing about this? I want you to answer me on the live, yes or no. You all think this is a new idea from this government? Somebody is saying on the live, isn't that a PNM initiative? I'm asking, is this the first time you all hearing about this initiative? Or you all heard about this before? Call in and tell me. 464-7003. Hello, good evening. Is this the first time you're hearing about this? Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Pastor Google. Stuart Young was the first one to talk about that initiative.
All right.
I don't know what them only chief and PNM plans for.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
Hello, good evening. Is this the first time you're hearing about this?
Good evening, Google. I would answer your question and if you would allow me to make a statement. No, the answer to that is no. And I will take it. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
I will remind the population that after this statement was made, Philip Alexander jumped out and said, nobody wants to go Nigeria. Nobody wants to go Nigeria.
Come on, if you could find that tape for my brother, you know what I will do.
Philip Alexander jumped out and said, nobody wants to go Nigeria.
My brother, could you find that video for me, please?
I would look for it.
No, I want it tonight.
Okay, I will come off the phone and go and look for it immediately.
Thank you very much.
That initiative was started under the PLM. Right, and there's a guy here from Africa, from the continent, a social media influencer. I don't like to call him influencer. A social media guy from Africa who lives in Trinidad, or married a Trinidadian woman. And he was expressing how grateful he was that now he don't have to go all over the place to go to the continent. He could get a direct flight. Now it might take 14 or 15 hours. But he was so excited. And I too was very excited about that because it would have been fantastic for me to first touch the continent of Africa, to leave straight from Trinidad and go straight there. Right? So I'm looking forward to when the actual flights ever happen. I might be one of the first people buying a ticket to do that.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you very much. Let's go and take in all your calls, you know. Is this the first time you're hearing this? Hello, good evening. Hello. All right. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Do you hear me?
Loud and clear.
This is not the first time we hearing that. You remember Robinson went to Africa. We was always Trinidad before the government. Robinson went there. And they welcome him over there. I think he get a red carpet welcome in Africa.
All right.
And they give him a name, a chief. They honor him. They respected Robinson.
Okay, they respected Dr. Rowley too.
Yes, Ghana, look, we invite the Ghana.
Yes.
Over to Trinidad, so that's not you.
All right.
You're trying to make me feel like that's not you. All governments in regards out.
All right. Thank you very much. Hello, good evening.
Evening, Pastor. Thanks again for the opportunity.
Is this the first time you're hearing anything? Is this the first time you're hearing this?
No, that is the same initiative Senator Fixit disparaged the PNM for and said that nobody want to go Africa, everybody want to go Canada, England, and America. And that is a pipe dream. And what we go in Africa for? When on the continent is 54 countries, is the fastest growing population, right? And with all the efforts being made across places led by Captain Traore, that is the place you want to go to when you see the developments happening in places like Rwanda and Burundi and Ethiopia and so on, right? That is the continent you want to go to when we could cut down from 2 days to just 6 hours. They now know that and talking about diversifying the economy. So again, no ideas. All these people could do is piggyback on what the PNM had. And all the people who ridicule that under the PNM, you will see them championing it now and saying, you know what I mean? It's like it's the first time they're hearing it. Hypocrisy. Thanks for the opportunity again, Pastor, but it's not the first time I heard it.
Thank you very much. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Is this the first time you're hearing this?
No, not at all. That been there just before PNM lose the election. That talk was recent.
Beautiful. Go to the other class.
2 years. So, you understand? But what has happened, everybody was on the very certain things. They like to take credit for things that people do. Nothing wrong like that, you know. But give credit to where credit is due. And that is what nobody does. You don't give credit to where credit is due. You know? The gas from Venezuela, they want to give credit for that. They want to come and switch it around. The same thing here again. Switch it around. Give credit to where credit is due. That's all.
All right.
That's all.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's continue to take your calls. 464-7003. Is this the first time you're hearing about this initiative? Hello, good evening.
Yes, Pastor. That was an initiative of Dr. Rowley,
okay,
from my recollection, because he met, I remember when in May in 2024, he met with His Excellency of Ghana, right? And they talked about a bilateral air service agreement between the two nations, right? Where Ghana was served as a gateway for Trinidad and Tobago for West Africa. Amongst one of those things, I'm not changing topic, that was also discussed was a finalization of a gas deal. So take care when this government come around. They even taken that and say, look, we make headway to our gas deal with Ghana. Take care. I just put in the nation notice. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. And good evening, caller.
Yes, good night again, Google. When Robinson did when they make him a chief.
Yes, you said that already, sir.
And what I'm trying to tell you, when he come back, the people start to berate him.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that. I just wanted to know about the video that I showed. If this is the first time you're hearing about that, okay?
No, not all right. Okay.
Thank you. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening, caller. You have to listen to me on your phone and not on your television.
Pastor Google, it's not the first time I hear about it. I hear how much thing the PNM say about it, it never come to pass.
What's that?
Creating plan, it never come to pass.
Hey, like you get a little work boy. You get you with something. So you're calling now to talk for your party.
Now I get you with nothing, I get you with God in my heart.
And you're calling your heart and you're still fighting for these people and them boy. Oh God, give me a break now. Give me a break.
Hello?
I'm listening to you.
When I'm fighting with people who look like me for donkey years and no opportunities and no betterment to my community. I now come through from Silas, Bitterman and places and I'm concerned voting in the looking. You support us looking?
How we looking?
The mayor Port has been.
How we
rubbish and Queen Street and
let me ask you something. All right, I can ask you something.
Don't tell me to cut the budget.
So what you want me to tell you then? What you want me to tell you? What you want me to tell you? The man was on the program here and he explained that they cut the budget. He explained that normally for the carnival they would have 500 workers from the CPEP to help clean for the carnival. This government closed down CPEP. They don't have the 500 workers. They sent 12 workers and the 12 workers up till now they can't find them.
Who caused that? Columbo and Rowley take all the money, renovate all the money.
That's what I'm telling you. That is why the woman had to sing the song. Only vexed to the song, but the song is truth. Hear the nonsense you're talking about. Okay. If you believe,
I like that song.
Listen to me. If you believe, all right, but hey, listen to me. If you believe that your government tell you that come in birth and Dr. Rowley thief the money, how come they're not talking about that? How come your government, when they were in opposition, said that Mr. Imber thief over $2 billion. You was on the radio saying that they should lock up Mr. Imbert. How it is they lay the Auditor General report in the Parliament and you're not hearing Ms. Bissessa them talking about that? How?
Well, the government, this government can't lock them up, them not police.
Oh, so you know that now.
So they send it to the DTP and then they have to do the work.
So I'm asking something. Did they send it? Wait, did they send it to the DPP? Did this government come before us in a press conference and say, hey, the $2 billion that we accuse the former Minister of Finance for stealing? Did they come before the country and tell this country that they were going on? We have just sent the file that we got from the Auditor General. We just sent it to the DPP. She said that?
Yeah, she said that on our platform.
She said that she sent the file to the DPP?
Yes.
Oh God, go from here. You're lying. Now, when you start to lie and thing now, I ain't going down that road with you. No. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. Forget that. Let me take our next call. I ain't going through that with you. Let me forget that. I want to play this video. I'm going to play this video just to clear the air from that level of lies and deception. Let me play this video. All right?
Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, Dr. Amory Brown, said it took 23 years to negotiate an air service agreement with the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He was addressing a signing ceremony for a bilateral air service agreement between Trinidad and Tobago and Nigeria.
I'm very pleased, therefore, that we have been able to complete the process to bring into effect Trinidad and Tobago's very first bilateral air services agreement with an African state.
Minister of Works and Transport Rohan Sinanan said the economic benefits to this nation go beyond additional tourist arrivals.
Trinidad is positioned to be that hub. And with support from Nigeria and the rest of the African states, with the support of some of the agreements that we have signed before, within the last couple of years, we are poised to be that hub here in the Caribbean region.
Meanwhile, Nigeria's Minister of Aviation and Aerospace, Festus Keyamo, endorsed Minister Sinanan's assertions that this country becoming an international hub.
And as your influence in Africa grows, we offer you to be the hub of Africa. Nigeria opens its door to Trinidad and Tobago. Come and be the hub of Africa. We're going to look back, at home and see the airlines that have the capacity to start this route immediately. We urge you to also look back home and, start this route immediately. Let's create the traffic. Let's create the routes. Let's revive the route again.
An international hub is a central airport used by one or more airlines to concentrate passenger traffic and facilitate connecting flights. Terry Ann Brown Campbell, TTT News.
So let me hear you, Lena. You see, that's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. So that is an initiative that was done under the People's National Movement. And now, when you hear the news talking about it, it is sounding as though it's an initiative that now come about. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening, caller. Going once. Hello, good evening, caller. Going twice. All right, the caller not there. Okay. You hang up. I'm taking your calls. 464-7003. 464-7003. So you're here? You hear it for yourself? Hello, good evening, caller. Hello, good evening, caller. All right, you're not ready yet. Let me take our next call. Hello, good evening, caller.
Good afternoon, Pastor.
Good evening, sir.
I was just going. I was just watching and just so I'm going to take part. But anyhow, I don't know what I can feel that. Anyhow, we had saw that we saw it months ago, just about 2 months ago before the general election. I personally remember that. Now I hear I watching. I don't mention a previous administration, but for some reason the claim this article. I don't know why, but I just same as how you want other people know and remember it has been broadcast about a month or two before the general election. I am the same thing, right? And before I go, I don't know why you have entertained this man. I don't know why, but I know that is your show. And the man and the guy just makes no sense over and over. You're still unemployed. You're still looking for work. The abandon you the show your way, you're in Kingsley, but you still there. Come around them boys. And lots of listening.
Thank you very much. Hello, good evening.
Good afternoon, Pastor Google. How are you?
I am okay. How are you?
I'm great. Pastor Google, Dr. Rowley went there, and when he come back, while he was over there, they start saying all sorts of things about him. So they try to dirty them out on certain things, and when none come back and do the same thing after. But I find that they shouldn't think about going there because they have the same African people in this country here real suffering. Take the jobs away from them, and it's only the African who vote for them, who some of them getting jobs, right? So I find if they want to go and link with those people, they must let them know what they're doing to the African people over here. See if over there will agree with that. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
All right.
So, good night. Have a great night.
Same to you. Thank you very much. 464-7003, 464-7003. Hello, good evening.
Good evening again.
Yes, sir.
What I want to say, why it's so difficult to say I'm continuing with whatever government, what's so difficult to say we will continue in what the PNN left off in negotiating with Africa. Why it's so difficult to do that? That is what I want to do. Talk to you later. Let the rest of all that call.
All right. Thank you very much. 464-7003. I want to talk to you about one topic again before I end the program this evening. There is this topic I want, this issue I want to raise, and I want you to listen. I want you to listen to this carefully. Alright? And let me tell you something now. We need to be more aware and more alert in this country. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Caller, you have a problem with your phone because other persons are getting through, and I don't know why you are not getting through. Alright, so caller, again, I try to facilitate your call, and I don't know why, but your call is not going through. Okay? So, call if you're hearing me. I don't know why you're not getting through, but other callers are calling in and getting through. So, you have to check your phone and see if you have an issue on your end. Alright? So, we continue to take your calls. 464-7003. 464-7003. In the Parliament on Friday, Mr. Marvin Gonzalez would have asked the National Security Minister a question. And it's a simple question, Simple question he asked him. And he just refused to answer it. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Pastor Google.
Hi, good evening.
I remember that when this whole initiative was going to Africa, and when Rowley went and he come back, he talked about yam seed. and they ridicule this man.
Well, that was when he went to Ghana.
Yeah.
But this initiative is an initiative to Nigeria.
Yeah. Everything Africa.
No. It's but the one that we're speaking particularly about is the one for Nigeria.
Yeah, I always say, well, let me tell you something. I get old now, and I'm so happy this going on because I would have liked to go Africa.
All right.
I don't like playing, but when I was young ladies down there, I was going sometime. But I get old, I would take it and I would sit down home.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, hear what now? For this man, for this guy to call my program, it means that I getting through to something. A little big in the dance. I feel like I'm a little big in the dance. For this man to call, listen to me, Trinidad and Tobago, and the world. Now I get a little excited here because I'm gonna tell you something now. For this man to call, it means I strike a nerve. I strike a nerve for this guy to call. Yeah, I strike a nerve. So, what do I the pleasure of this phone call?
All right, brother, Pastor Google, good evening, and to your listeners and viewers. I wanted to give some clarity in terms of this whole air service agreement and what it means. Now, since the turn of this century, we're talking about.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Since the turn of this century, Trinidad and Tobago has been pursuing bilateral air services agreements.
And I would have played the clip from when Senator what's his name?
Amy Brown
would have talked about it.
And then Festus Keyamo was the Nigerian Minister.
Yes.
So, and that is the new Minister of Aviation and Transport. He just came in 12 months ago. All right? Their political cycle follows the same 4 years as the U.S. So, since the turn of the century, we've been pursuing this, and it didn't happen. All right? And to be honest with you, it may appear very easy that a man just come here and sign is not so easy. It was a monumental victory for Trinidad and Tobago to get that. All right? You cannot overstate how important it is. Now, what is this bilateral air services agreement that we signed before the election last year? It enables direct one-stop air link between the Caribbean and West Africa. Nigeria alone is 220 million. West Africa is about 400 plus million. And therefore, they fly regularly to Panama and so on. But to go to Panama, they will go to Brazil first and then come across, or they'll go to Dubai and then come across and so on. And therefore, it opens up that. Because you need a legal framework. Without that, you can't have direct flights. Because remember, governments do not fly. Carriers fly. Airlines fly. Right? So, the airlines cannot fly the route if there is no legal framework and basis for it to happen. It facilitates trade, tourism, diaspora travel, because you have millions of West Africans living in the U.S., and now this can open up a different route for them to go back home and so on. It supports movement of cargo. You have energy services. Nigeria is an energy giant on the continent. And manufactured goods. I always tell the story of when my father was in Nigeria and my mother told me to go and buy some milk. I was studying at the time, a student, and I went to the store, and the store had only 2 items. Milk of one type, one variety, liquid, and juice of one variety. The entire store. And so you can imagine the volume that you can achieve. If you sell toothpicks alone, you can be a millionaire. That's how vast Nigeria's economy is. And that is just Nigeria. That is not the 25 million in Burkina Faso, the 34 million in Ghana, the 30 million in Cote d'Ivoire, and so on. And the opportunity is very much there. Now, Nigeria is an airline that does transatlantic flights. They bought Liat. all right? But they do chartered flight to Antigua, and then you can come down. So some persons came to Trinidad in December via that route. But Trinidad and Tobago is a stronger market for Nigerian flights to the Caribbean. And because of trade, it's the largest economy in the Caribbean, and it is more significant for them than going through Antigua and so on. So therefore, it opens up the doors for us. The challenge is always going to be getting carriers that can fly the route. So either the Nigerian airline Airpeace or Ethiopian Airlines, which has a hub in West Africa in neighboring Togo, which is the country of my wife's nationality. So therefore, this conversation is one where, someone who can shed a lot of light on it would be same Minister Brown, because it's a foreign affairs issue. And the foreign ministry would have been pursuing that for a very long time. So it's a great achievement for Trinidad and Tobago to get it. And I think the country is aware that there are agents in the UNC government that really don't want to do anything with Africa. In fact, when I was in the Senate 2 weeks ago and I had to talk on the bill with these zones of special operation or zones of suppression, as we call it, one of the UNC, the government senators, when I mentioned Africa, he was very derogatory, talking about bring back the yam, and I warned him. I said, your government is pursuing trade with Africa. You shouldn't be speaking in a negative manner about Ghana or any African country, Of course, he was taking examples from Philip Alexander, who had the most nasty things to say about Ghana. So it's a government that is caught in a quandary. Their mouthpieces say the most disgusting and degrading things about Africa, yet they're trying to capitalize on gains that were made by the former government. Now, the airlines would have always been willing to fly, but without the bilateral air services agreement, they would not have been able to. So that bilateral air services agreement is the key factor, and that was done and achieved under the PNM just before the election. So it's no simple thing. To explain how monumental it is, you may want to get a foreign affairs professional, but as an economist and someone in trade, I could tell you that it's not an easy feat that was achieved.
Wow. Well, I'm going to try my best to reach out to Dr. Amy Brown before the end of the week and get his take.
When my father was High Commissioner, it was one of the main things he tried to achieve. And it didn't happen, So it shows you it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing at all. And the dream, I remember when the Nigerian High Commissioner came, he's left since. Nigerian High Commissioner came about 4 years ago. His dream was to have a direct flight. That was his dream, that if in his term in office, a direct flight could be achieved, he would consider his entire term successful. At least. So he left before even seeing the signing, because he wasn't present. There was no High Commissioner at the time present.
Right.
So that means it was even more than the Nigerian High Commissioner who came here to achieve. So it took a lot of doing. So what this has laid the foundation for is all the work that we have done. And we had a trade mission to Ghana.
Yes.
And then Dr. Oli went to Ghana there as well to meet the Ashanti King on more than one occasion.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So the government has openly signaled that they are eager to do business with Africa. And our High Commission is based in Nigeria. And we have signed a services agreement with Nigeria. It is now for us to get an airline that is willing to fly the route. It can be Ethiopian Airlines, because they have a hub in West Africa. It can also be Airpeace, which is a Nigerian carrier that does transatlantic flights.
All right.
Whichever one, it'll be good. It could even be Kenya Airways, because Kenya Airways, I believe, their West African hub is in Ghana or Nigeria. So it might be either of those three carriers that are international carriers that fly out of West Africa and fly out of Nigeria.
All right, man. Thanks very much, Obika.
Have a good one.
Thank you very much for calling. And I will reach out to Dr. Emery Brown and get him to give us a clear vision of how this went down.
Definitely.
All right, man. Thanks again.
Wonderful.
Yeah, man. All right. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Pastor Google.
Good evening, sir.
My father, when Texaco was there, was sent to train in England on a Texaco scholarship to learn to be a rigger there. I have pictures of him when he was in England, and that's why you always like the Liverpool football team, because he went to Liverpool. Why am I telling you? According to your last caller, think about when the PNM government got Mr. Owando, who was the preferred bidder for the refinery, and what this would have done for bilateral relationships, or multilateral relationships, should I say, with the African continent. In that, not only direct flights, but trade with countries like Nigeria and Ghana and major West African countries. What the benefit would have been for this country, and he being Accra with oil and so on, we would have been able to send some of our local people across to Africa to get that modernized type of training that would have been necessary for a modern refinery. And this is why the PNM attempted to do business with Africa. When Dr. Rowley did business, was about to do business in Ghana, and Ghana wanted to get into the gas business. Right? The PNM had lost power in 2010. And what they did is sent somebody across here because of to talk to our then Prime Minister, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, who was Prime Minister of the People's Partnership, to tell them that, listen, we have a lot of gas and oil and so on, and we need your expertise, and we want to talk with you with respect to having an agreement whereby you could help us and we can help you. Kamla Prasad Bisesa refused to speak to that individual. People must remember these things. And eventually, after a couple of days, she spoke with him in her constituency office. And she never followed up on that. Eventually, the Ghanaians decided to do business with Japan and not Trinidad and Tobago. And we lost out on that bit of business since quite then. I think former Senator Obika, if he could call back in, if he could verify that, if I'm talking the truth or not. But what I'm saying, that this could have been already in train. And even after that, when the partnership lost government and Dr. Rowley came in, and he made efforts when he went to Ghana and so on, and then making joke about yam and all sorts of stupidness. But it was about trade. It was about doing business with the African continent, which we would have benefited from. And the amount of people that was there. Think about the diaspora across in Africa that we would have been dealing with, and how much foreign exchange we would have gotten, and the business we would get if Mr. Owando had gotten the refinery and was able to send people to train in Nigeria and modernize our refinery and bring the oil that he has, as well as the technology that would have helped Trinidad and Tobago today. That refinery may very well, and he has the money. But the UNC has decided, because it's PNM idea, and it's a PNM preferred bidder, they ain't going to be cheap. They send somebody quite in India, as if they're going to get somebody to come here to open up that refinery. I said it before and I will say it again for the umpteenth time. We needed somebody with deep pockets and somebody with the knowledge. And that in itself would have assisted us as far as opening up that direct relationship between the African continent and Trinidad and Tobago. We have lost out on that. We have lost out. And that would have assisted us in, as I said before, starting back the refinery and organizing jobs and modernizing the refinery and even sending people to train. Because everybody believes that Africa is this fourth world country. But they are not. They are some parts are more modernized than Trinidad. And in a better state than Trinidad and Tobago. But you see, they don't want to accept that. Because why? The African people. And that is our loss. And the faster, as Senator Obika just indicated, the faster we understand that and realize that, it will be better for Trinidad and Tobago. And Forex would reign, because it's millions of people we are talking about. And trade would be the best thing to happen to Trinidad and Tobago as far as these people are concerned. India wants to do business with who? Brazil, China, and Russia. And England. Because after the Honorable Prime Minister of India left here, you know where he went? He went to England and he did $8 billion in trade with England. $8 billion. But they don't talk about that. He was supposed to send some water ambulances to Trinidad. He sent it yet? No. He hasn't. He was supposed to do other things with Trinidad. Has he done it yet? No. But at the end of the day, business with Africa would have been far and above where we are today. So to come and talk about it now after the PNM had spoken about it is just repeating and attempting to say something novel when it is not. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You know, I don't know how many of you are aware that the Prime Minister endorsed a Calypso on social media. And if you listen to the song that she endorsed, it's frightening. It's frightening. And then the artist would have gone the distance of telling people that Calypso doesn't belong to no political party. So Prime Minister defends Calypso freedom after Orlando Octave performance. The Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar has publicly defended the freedom of Calypsonians following a hard-hitting performance by Calypsonian all of a sudden now he's a Calypsonian Orlando Octave. Right? He's saying that Calypso belongs to everybody. Right? But if you listen to the song, that Orlando Octave, that the Prime Minister is endorsing by Mr. Orlando Octave. A lot of you will want to know what's really going on in this country. You know that, right? How many of you heard the song by Orlando Octave? Just if you're on the live, just indicate if you heard it, yes or no. How many of you heard the song by Orlando Octave? Just yes or no. Let's type in yes or no for me now. If you heard the song by Orlando Octave that the Prime Minister endorsed. Hello, good evening.
But if she is supporting the song by Orlando Octave, why it is FAFO and Big Sale is not making it to the semi-finals of Calypso Fiesta?
Well, I can't answer that one.
She's not endorsing those tunes as well?
No, how are you going to endorse that?
So you are telling me there are 40 tunes better than FAFO and Big Sale?
I'm not telling you that. That's what the judges say.
I see. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I didn't say that. It's the judges and them saying that. Have you all heard Orlando Octave song? Somebody say yes, no, but I don't listen. That's why. Somebody says no. Okay, so let me hear Orlando Octave song. I will play it for you. I want to listen to what your Honorable Prime Minister endorsing. Right? I want to play for you what all your Prime Minister endorsing. This is all your Prime Minister endorsing, eh? This is not what. This is not just, and this is actually, I don't know what to say in all here. A real surprise. I shouldn't say a surprise, a lie. I'm not surprised. But at the end of the day, it tells me something about this Prime Minister. What she can say, Orlando saying it for her. That is why she endorsed it. I want to say it again. What she can say publicly, Orlando Octave is saying it for her. So take a listen to Orlando Octave song that our Prime Minister, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, has endorsed. Right? I want you to listen to it. This is the song that the Prime Minister endorsing. I don't know, you know. But this is what we accepting by as a nation. This is what we accepting. Oh, leave me alone now. Leave me alone. Something is wrong with us. So take a listen to this.
Man, no afraid, no Brahman, no Brahman, no afraid, no Brahman, no afraid, no Brahman. I was waiting patiently, set like a mapaki, cause I know all's handily, to crawl out the hole. Some so-called Calypsonians claim them is the voice of the sun. They better understand, it's them I come out to school. Since the party lose the election, they want to be the people's champion by attacking our new Prime Minister. So now I have to declare, they showing they got the underwear, but I see it, I blood that is sinister. When I hear what Mr. Shock singing, I stand up in shock. For 9 years under Kid Rowley, Mr. Shock like he job unlock. When I hear what the Brahman singing, I check out the Facebook page. Mr. Shock never post one. Now the voters make the choice. Suddenly he get back the voice. Less than 1 year in office, and start back with his stupidness. The only time you don't hear him vent is with the Indian government. When the people need him most, he and he boy went on ghost. Lock back your jawbone. Them lyrics not making sense. Lock back your jawbone. Artificial intelligence. Lock back your jawbone. That hypocrisy cannot work. When Rowley had we in a headlock, Mr. Shock never say one. Boy man never say one. Kaiso, true Kaiso stories are told, and that's the Kaisonians role. When I say stories, I ain't talking about lies. To them Kaiso hypocrite, and whosoever the damn cap fit. Bet your life that the public bound to open their eyes. Some of them big office holders inside their party, and even executives on the two-co body. Some of them just be on the platform openly campaigning. Take a look for yourself and see it's the same ones that complaining. When I hear what the crow singing, I wasn't too shocked. When PNM was in office, the midget job on the lock. When I hear what the midget singing.
So let me just say this, right? You all heard the Land Octave song there. What do you all say? What do you all think about this song? Somebody say this song actually oh God. Somebody say the guy. Okay. So what are your thoughts about this song? As you're about to close the program, I could take 2 or 3 calls and hear your views about this song. What is your thoughts about this song from Orlando Octave? 464-7003. He and Naked went. Okay, I don't know about that. Somebody stoops. Stupidness. Somebody says stupidness. What is your thoughts about this song? Quickly, we're taking about 4 or 5 calls quickly. Hello, good evening.
Good afternoon, Pastor.
What is your thoughts?
That's his opinion. I hear his opinion. We know different, but I hear his opinion.
All right.
But we don't agree with your opinion. But we
know that what he's saying isn't totally true, because Barman, Mr. Shock, used to sing on PNM too.
Yeah, but these guys don't have that. Them kind of knowledge. 1 and 2, we don't know that they cannot put under the government so that they can say anything.
All right, thank you very much. Somebody saying that is Lipso, not Calypso. Somebody said more volume, please. Not hearing. You're not hearing? Seriously? I don't understand that. You're not hearing? That don't make it. I don't understand that. Somebody said they're not hearing me, or they're not hearing. You all didn't hear the song? Okay, that's interesting. All right, somebody saying what? He's not ready yet. Nonsense. Dotish song. Nonsense he's singing. Toilet paper. Somebody say what? Singing for his supper. Somebody say, is this a calypso? I ain't asking. What? I am asking for a friend. Okay, well, I don't know how to answer that for your friend. Great song, except a what? Remix. Expect a remix. All right, you're expecting a remix. Cool. Somebody saying, I heard it clear. Beautiful. Somebody said, that's a UNC, not hearing. Okay. Somebody say, yes, I heard the song, but you lowered your volume after. All right. Somebody said what? Somebody else is saying there, that song very trash. Hello, good evening.
Good Pastor. Well, but if that fella make the semi-final.
No, he didn't. He didn't make the semi-finals.
He didn't make it?
No.
Well, boy, here's again the thing that, that fella is saying that I don't know how this girl, Queen Octavia, make that final, that semi-final, or the final. No, I don't know how she don't make it.
I
but she
don't know.
Still sing something.
All right, then. I don't know you don't understand how she make it. I can understand why she make it. You put that song, that song, them songs is clear. Come on, you everybody know that when you went in office, you did that song like that will never make it to the finals. I wasn't expecting it to make the finals, to be quite honest. I wasn't expecting Africans for sale to make it. Trust me, I wasn't expecting that. Somebody is saying that song was somebody say singing for his supper. All right. Anybody else want to call in quickly? 464-7003. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, Pastor. A terrible song, but the message is for the supporters and for her supporters.
Right.
Right? To indicate that Calypso is only for PNM parties.
Yeah, that's what they want to do.
That's just the agenda she pushing.
Yeah,
right?
Man.
And is a racist too. So anyhow, leave it to them. Have a good night.
Same to you, sir. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Pastor Google. Pleasant night.
Same to you.
Pure nonsense. And this is what the art form have come to? This is horrible. They could do much better than that. Much, much better than that. And it's an art form. This is what we showcasing as our culture in the country, and these are the songs that they are going to put as qualifying.
Well, I don't think he qualified for
this is crazy.
From the March Gras. I don't think he qualified.
Oh, good. Because I was like, what rubbish? What rubbish is this?
Yeah, I don't think he qualified.
We have to realize that this is Calypso is an art form, is something that we have to ensure that it stay alive. So I think they could do better than that. And I don't know who chooses the judges and what the judges usually look for. Because some of the persons that they would choose are definitely not the material that is needed to qualify for Calypso. That is my contribution. He's
All right.
African for sale.
Thank you. Hello, good evening.
Good afternoon, Brother Google.
Hi, good evening.
I have a question, right? Why it is, some of us, right? Some of us black people always fall for the same trap to ally ourselves with people who don't have our interests at heart. Why?
Well, I think
it's not a racist thing, because I'm gonna tell you, every ethnic group does organize themselves. The Chinese will organize themselves, the Indians will organize themselves, the Syrians will organize themselves. But when it comes to black people, well, all are we as one. Or, that I think we're too inclusive for our own good. I was telling our partner the other day, what our black demographic is like? Is like the black demographic is like you have a father who's the head of a household, right? that he's taking care of everybody's business, except the businesses inside his house. You know what I mean? For us to organize ourselves is not racist. You understand? Because everybody else doing it. You know, charity begins at home. Apparently, Orlando will not yet.
All right, thank you very much. There's a conversation.
Hello, good night.
Yes, sir.
I'm back on again. That song is foolishness. It's nonsense. It ain't making no sense. He really singing for his supper. What do you call it? Just said it's true. It have no meaning. It have no proper lyrics. Nothing. It's just not worth singing because it's not nation building song. Just foolishness.
All right. Thank you very much, caller. Thank you very much. All right. So here is where I have to say thank you very much for being with me on Constructive Talk. What I will do before I come off, I will play for you Mr. Shaq's performance for the judges on Judges Night in San Fernando. I will play for you now Mr. Shaq's song. This is the song that Mr. Shaq sang for the judges, and this is how he performed for the judges on what night this was? Can't remember the night. I think it was Saturday night. All right. So if you want to know why Mr. Shaq didn't make it, take a listen. Talk to you guys tomorrow, please God. Bye bye. Thanks again for tuning in. And remember, Constructive Talk is on Monday to Thursday from 8:30.
Here we go. I said, give me a F, F, O, and let them know that is the code. Some say it is that. I go get the facts. Hear me good. We experiencing a global phenomenon with serious issues mankind choose to fool around. Then they go find out facing real consequences that when you play totish games you win foolish prizes. The mighty US of A, look how them in disarray because they forget the first dose of MAGA madness. So with the short-term memory, they welcome back Donald T to give that fascist a second term in office. But after they take debate and they realize what's the fate, enough of them want to change the vote, but it is too late. You see the FA, FO, I see the FA, now they got FO. Young man for sure to stop the election fingers fast. Although every poll warn you that would have be a shock. FO, I said the FA, now they go FO. But look, Donald distracting when it's soaking. He naming the Epstein files, so the bankies worried they're voting a presidential pedophile. FO, I said the FA. Now they got FO. You see when you're ever wrong, there's no doubt. Even Mungo Sam will find out that what's sour in Bam Bam starts sweet in the mouth. Why you shout FO? I tell you that is, tell them that is the call. Oh, say, can you see? You see the code? FAFO. Hear me? Trinbagonian love all foes, you know that is the truth. So when America Trump, we just follow suit. If them MAGA morons is America's concern, well, we present government is easily their clones. From 2010 to 15, the tenure was so obscene, scandalized the land and destroy the economy. But
like we missed the free for all, incompetence and bubble. So we bring them back to finish mash up the country. And as they assume their roles, I set a square peg in wrong holes. Now plenty people who help them win at the polls say the FA, FO. That's the FA, FO. The two worst Alexanders in the world, anti-make minister. One is a racist troll, and one need a West Indian first primer. FA, FO. I say the FA, FO. Meanwhile, Tanti set up TNT in people war, ship away in place. She should have let the Yankee army put the radar in she pink palace. FA, FO. I say she FA, no, she go FO. You'll see when you're FA wrong, there's no doubt. Persona non grata must find out that what's sour in Bam Bam starts sweet in she mouth. Sing it out, FA, FO. I tell you that is, tell them that is the call. Cause when cold yellow wins, corruption begins. What's the real code? F-A-F-O. Listen good. Maintaining law and order and enforcing justice. That serious mandate falls to the police service. So confidence and respect of the citizenry, it's the only way to do that job effectively, not so? But when you hear politics and policing start to mix, that's when public trust and confidence starts to erode. Especially when the top cop appears to be propping up the lies and propaganda of the government's code. How can the people trust a commissioner who lies to us, who feel he's the punisher with a thesaurus? Well, he F.A. F.O. I can't hear you. He went up the young man for true and tell we that the U.S. radar help him to find the drugs in Caroni. The man lying from so far. F.A. F.O. I say he F.A. Now he go F.O. Hear me? Thanks to CCTV we see police commit cold-blooded murder, but the punisher, that liar, he call it an exchange of gunfire. F.A. F.O. I say he F.A. Now he go F.O. You see when you're F.A. wrong, there's no doubt. Even rogue police find out what's sour in Bam Bam starts sweet in the mouth. Sing it out. F.A. F.O. I tell you that is, tell them that is the call. I am Constable Brown, they call me Boy Blue. I don't need a warrant to murder you. Come and call this F.A.F.O. Let me talk to the doc. Doc, you had the mandate of most of the electorate, not to mention the support of your party base. Somehow you took that to mean you could manipulate and dictate the decision of who should take your place. And because you were the top dog, you move like an overlord. You find when you tell them jump, they should have asked how high. You set out to sway the vote, offer up a young scapegoat to just get a kobo sweat after you say bye-bye. You delay party convention, play with party constitution, and figure you could have gerrymander the outcome. Why? F.A.F.O. I say he F.A.F.O. You chain up the young man for truth, the snappy election fingers fast. Although every poll warn you, that would have be a shortcut us. F.A.F.O. So for your voters who stayed away, you certainly have a part to play. God, they feel like they get betrayed like it had snake in the belly. Say F.A.F.O. I said the F.A. Now they go F.O. You see when you're F.A. wrong, there's no doubt. Even strong leaders find out what's sour in Bam Bam start sweet in it. Sing it out, sing it out. F.A.F.O. That is the call. So when I tell you let's do this, we say let's do this. Red and ready to oppose. F.A.F.O. jam now. Some say you can't get change from a penny. Don't care how much you done it wrong. So they feel all that penny might buy. It's 5 more years in opposition. But Code Yellow put thousands on the breadline. They fire people as they wish. Then they send a minister on a truck in the night to give where she rotten fish. It's time we wake up and we put TNT before party politics. Or they will divide and rule and leave all our we lost in the wilderness. Forget the sycophants and the cynics, the haters and the hypocrites. We true Trinbagonians. If we don't step up and fix it quick, we go F-O. Showcase. Give me a F. F-O. I say when you F are wrong without doubt, soon enough we sure to find out.
So that was Mr. Sharp. And now we're going to hear from Queen Victoria. God bless one everyone. Talk to you guys tomorrow, please God. It's really enjoy you guys. Bye-bye.
All your good, yes? I was lining with some old men before the election, and well, I was amazed of their discussion. They were discussing the election of 2025, how Africans were selling cheap and UNC buying dead or alive. One old man shout out, fellas, give me your attention. UNC can't win by themselves, no election. You see, they're sitting and they're planning to make a decision. So she called out Shilaga, who the old FIFA wanted man. She said, call the trade union, let we start negotiations. And we could call out a big sale and we go buy out some Africans. Africans for sale, we buying Africans. Sing the thing. Africans for sale, we buying Africans. She don't have all she chance and she the honor rhymes. No, what she need is some slave names, man, some big strong Africans. Africans for sale, we buying good or bad. Africans for sale, Tobago and Trinidad. Oh, somebody pinch me. Hey, UNC sitting and they're waiting patiently. With about 16 safe seats, they don't win that already. The woman said, I have my people and they are born UNCs. Now all I need is some Africans who got their names out of slavery. She said that she hear they're really selling cheap, and she could buy them very cheap, 500 and a jersey. A lot of people will cry when she's finished with CPEP, because she is not holding back them P&M have nothing to get. She said it's party before country, oh you never forget. She will care for her people and she have no blasting regrets. Africans for sale, we buying Africans. She buying Africans for sale, listen, we buying Africans. She said we like crab in a barrel, we pulling each other down. But I want their votes, so I jam them the winning song. And so they know it. Africans when UNC wins, everybody wins. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale, Tobago and Trinidad. Hey, who called me? I want this verse slow, right? The black mines in Tobago, she's working on them with ease. But she's not afraid because monkeys say cool breeze. She said the last time she was easy, this time there is no room for mistakes. Cause when she's done with Tobago, it's either they make or break. She has her eyes on Moruga, especially Samuel Cooper. They got a lot of P&M houses, but none of them can remember. She's buying some in 6 company because they're nice, they're bad and they're trim. Their ancestors came from Africa and all of them is Americans. She passed through 5 company and she bounced up Madingo. Well, boy, she makes she name cause she gets Africans. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. Kill them. Africans for sale, for sale. Listen this. We buying Africans. The Pfizer bad was pretty serious with a reach in the cemetery. He said I'm waiting for refinery. Boy, that man had to be crazy. What? Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying good or bad. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. Tobago and Trinidad. I never meet too commercial man so. She said my people are loyal, they don't vote for other parties. But them P&M people just show them some money, staggered roti. She said I have my safe seats in the safe hands of Caroni. She go on to St. Couva, straight down to St. Paris. She said I love my people, for 10 years we out in the rain. But when I get back in there, things will never be the same. To all of my people, you must get your rightful place. And I don't care who's sitting there and think I am talking race. You all know what's hurting me. You see that, Dr. Rowley? We don't hide up all we money. The damn man change the currency. Hey! Africans for sale, hey, for sale, hey, for sale. Hey, we buying African. Kill them. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. They bought out PSA. They got them for 10%. Now they could beat the chest and laugh cause they know it's money well spent. All your love, all your Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying good or bad. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. Tobago and Trinidad. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans. Africans for sale, for sale, for sale. We buying Africans.
Let me say here tonight to public servants, wherever you may be, if your president succeeds in removing the P&M from office, many thousands of you will follow that by removing yourself out of your jobs. And let me tell you why. The government of Trinidad and Tobago led most of the years by caring P&M governments have taken on the responsibility of ensuring a quality of life for people in this country that is now at the level of almost impossible to fund beyond where we are. In a $60 billion budget, the largest expenditure in that budget is on the monthly payment to public servants wherever they might be. Every month, on average, not just public servants on the Gazette, you know. The government supports the payroll of some state enterprises. If WASA doesn't get a $200 billion from the Minister of Finance virtually every month, WASA workers cannot be paid consistently in the way that they have been, you know. But as Prime Minister, I could tell you, the hardest job of the government and of the Prime Minister is to ensure that there are revenues coming in on one side to ensure that expenditure can be supported on the other side. And nobody could give you any other equation. The singular equation that you should be concerned about in this country now is what is our revenue situation and what is our expenditure situation. If you listen to the PSA leader and the UNC and their campaign in 2025, all they are concerned about is improving and expanding the expenditure side of the equation. And to do that, to make it, honey, quoted for you, they tell you things like they will increase public servants' pay by 10%. Ladies and gentlemen, from this platform tonight, I could tell you, once a government comes in and gets on that pathway of making that kind of increase to public servants, the highway has to be labeled two ways. One, you are going to end up at the IMF, the International Monetary Fund station, and you're going to get there by the road called devaluation. And let me tell all of you something tonight. If God forbid, and there's a government in office that finds itself without revenues to meet the monthly expenditure to public servants, the one thing that government will not do is to write checks to you and then the checks bounce in the bank. Governments don't operate so. Before you get to that point where the checks will bounce in the bank, you cut the liability of requiring to write the checks. You know what that means? When the government finds itself in a position not being able to pay the payroll, ask Barbados what happened. It's tens of thousands of public servants that come off the payroll. Governments don't have you on the payroll working and can't pay you. They take you off the payroll. In this country, anybody who is telling you that they will incur expenditure that we all know the revenues cannot support, they are telling you in code that they intend to cut the public service. And let me tell you what my source of information tells me when I try to understand what the UNC is about. You know what the UNC is saying quietly and secretly? If they ever get to that situation where they come into office and they can't pay the bills that they're committed to and they cut the public service, is mainly PNM supporters that will be affected, because the bulk of the public service is East-West Corridor people supporting the PNM.
The information provided by the speakers and or presenter on Facebook and YouTube is for general informational purposes only. All information is provided in good faith. However, Constructive Talk makes no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, adequacy, validity, reliability, availability, or completeness of this information.